making every journey better.
Welcome along. It is live pod time. This could go horrifically wrong though, because the whole plan was, I'd said to the two lads in the WhatsApp, look, we'll let the games finish. Let's hop on around 20 past. We'll just check the internet, check everything's okay. Skehill arrives, about a minute before we're due to go live. And now it would appear that his kids are still watching videos outside of his rec room at the moment. And I'm not sure exactly how long the delay is. So, Skehill, how are you?
I'm good.
Oh, that's not bad.
Okay, we can deal with that. It'll get better. It tends to, what we find is it warms up. It takes about 5 minutes to warm up.
Yeah. Well, two of us seem to be on the same timeline.
Sorry, my explanation is I had a cow calving, right? So I was watching the match on the screen, trying to pull the calf, get the calf going, came back, kids are gone crazy in the house. I'm stink of cow shit now and whatever you want to call it. So I'm a little bit glassy in the forehead because of the sweat. A little bit annoyed that we got bet. That's just a normal Saturday night here.
Yeah, fair enough. I think we know the reason he's gone in this direction. But your comments have been flowing in, and we'll get to them now in a second. Hopefully, Skell's internet will be perfect at that point as well. But the top line of all this is last round of the league has just come to an end. The Hurling Pod here and Off the Ball, of course, is with thanks to Applegreen. We're live tonight on YouTube to take your comments and have a chat with everybody about what happened this evening. But Applegreen is helping you relax, recharge, and enjoy the journey ahead. What has happened? Well, Limerick and Cork into the Division 1A final. That's going to be on Easter weekend at the Gaelic Grounds. We'll talk about that in a sec. Goals in either half from Colin O'Neill and Aaron Gillan saw Limerick eventually hold off a Galway fight back. Brian Concussion had a chance with a pull on the ground right towards the end of the game. It kind of just went just wide of Nicky Quaid's goal. Galway almost getting through to the final. Scoring 31 points at the Gaelic Grounds was pretty impressive, having been 11 points down during the game. Cork, as expected, when we saw the teams come out on Friday, opening up on Offaly, firing in 6 goals in the end of Páirc Uí Chaoimh, the reigning champions easing into the final there. Waterford, of course, we know, heading back to Division 1 of the Hurling League with Offaly. That was all decided before we came to the final round. We had a good game between Tipperary and Kilkenny. Understandably, Murph was watching quite a bit of this. Kilkenny getting an equaliser right at the end of the game as that finished a draw. Then in Division 1B on the final day, well, Dublin, they sealed their promotion back up to the top flight. 15 different scorers in their win against Carlow. Kerry beat Meath to join Laois in moving up to Division 1B. And Down, I think we can officially crown as the Ulster champions for 2026 before we go to Belfast. They basically fought on against Antrim right to the end of the game, struck a very late goal and came out by a couple of points. They still go down with Carlow into Division 2 for next year, but a big win for Down on the last day, restoring a little bit of pride as well. So, delighted to say, we do have James Skehill settling down in the background, it would seem there, when I look at the YouTube. So, Skehill, how are you?
Not too bad. How's all that?
It's holding. Paul Murphy, how are you?
Great, lads. Great.
Excellent. Murphy's got a much better connection, but here we are. So, Gaelic Grounds confirmed as the venue. So, Easter Sunday, the 5th of April, it's going to be a double header. 1:45 for Division 1B, which is Clare and Dublin. And then the Division 1A final is going to be Cork and Limerick. Straight away, I stuck that on Twitter a few minutes ago, stuck it in the comments there in the YouTube as well. The automatic reaction, Murph, was tickets are going to be like gold dust, and Clare and Dublin should be looking for a different venue already.
Yeah, like it wasn't something I thought of straight away. It wasn't my knee-jerk reaction when I saw it, to be honest. I'd listen to any supporter, especially if their county's in a final and they want to go to it. It's a little bit different, I suppose, from the point of view that everybody's team is out the following week. Like one thing I thought of, and before we came on, Will, we spoke about it, was TG Carr did a great job last year in terms of the league finals. I thought it was one of the best performances of coverage. Now, I know that's not the issue. People are talking about they want to get tickets, but I suppose I'm on the fence here between, we often come on here every week or most weeks, and we're talking about games are better when we nearly have capacities in grounds. So like maybe games should be brought to grounds where X capacity will fit the ground and it'll make for it. So I think a few less people might travel to the 1B final. I'm just going to say that, between Clare and Dublin. Nothing against the supporters, but I think a few less might travel because they're about to head into a round-robin phase as well, okay? And obviously, if you're on the road for all them and this one's up in the air, you might not travel to it. Okay, if it's convenient, you might. But between all the counties, like there's even an aspect here to say, like how many, like will 100% of Cork supporters who usually go to a game go to this league final? Probably not, because they're out in 2 weeks' time. First game's actually Gaelic Grounds as well, isn't it? Correct in saying that? Wrong? Yeah. So,
2 weeks after the league final.
There's a few things there. I actually think that the league finals last year, albeit Waterford and Offaly wasn't a savage game, hopefully Clare and Dublin would be a little bit of a better game. I think bringing it to both of the grounds will suit TG Carr to actually cover really well, and I think for a coverage point of view, it'll just look a bit better. But I don't really have a major gripe with this, but I understand that maybe Monday morning we might be hearing rumblings of people calling for it. But I'm not too passionate about this one, to be honest. I'm happy enough with the double header, and because oftentimes I think when the GA make a decision, we're very quick to say, it's the other direction, and then sometimes, if they were to do two separate grounds, we were saying it should be a double header. Sometimes we have. Here we are with the double header. So I think we just go ahead with it, see how it works. If we feel, listen, there's 4 really good teams in finals next year, we can't do it. We won't do it next year. But at the moment, go with it.
It's a fair point out of the club 3919 on YouTube. When Cork will probably fill it itself nearly. Again, it's one of those. I guess Limerick and Cork supporters will both want to go. To take Murph's point on, though, if you are facing each other in the Munster Championship just a few weeks later, will it be quite the same desire? Like, I can understand why they want to put both in the same venue. Again, we mentioned TG Carr, and we can talk about the coverage tonight. It was very mixed opinions that I saw online, at least. I thought it was a great idea to do all the cutaways to the other grounds and have the live table, and I appreciate if there was more drama and more on the line, it probably would have been more exciting still. And then there were some supporters of Limerick and Galway who went, just stick with our game. You're after missing the score because it's over in the split screen. But TG Carr will obviously want to have both games in the one venue to broadcast a double header as well. So I can understand that from that point of view. And Clare and Dublin, I think tickets will still be available. I don't know if it's going to go quite as crazy as that, but I can take the point. And I think I saw Dublin is Great, which is just a fantastic name, further up in the YouTube as well, wondering whether Dublin and Clare should automatically be turning around to try and get a standalone game in Portlaoise. Dublin is Great, 7717. I wonder, is that Tom Lagarde? Very possibly. Skehill, your take on this decision to have two of them in Limerick?
A tricky one for me, because I think probably the two best supported teams in the country at the moment are the Limerick Hurlers and the Cork Hurlers. So regardless of what other games you put on with them, it's going to be set out anyways. But I agree with your sentiments, Murph, around the Division 1B final. In terms of value, I don't think the Clare or Dublin people will put much value on that. Whereas the Cork Limerick game it's really healthy rivalry. I think if it's a group game, league final, whatever kind of game they partake in at the moment, it's probably the healthiest and most heated rivalry in hurling at the moment.
Yeah.
So I think the neutrals would want to go to that game also. Strange one for me. I thought there'd be standalone games over the course of that weekend, the Saturday and Sunday kind of job. Obviously not. I thought Clare and Dublin would. Maybe they've played, I suppose, historically they've played Limerick before, but Thurles as well. And I get it. It's so close to the round robin. It's a bit of a funny one, Murph. I think the two games are put together for convenience as opposed to attracting attendance, obviously.
Yeah. Because
it's not a commercial decision, if you ask me. I think it's just fulfill the fixture and head towards the championship in a couple of weeks after that.
Yeah, I just see the comment there, Will, that's coming in. I actually wouldn't even go for Thurles, to be honest, if I was playing it. I'd go Portlaoise or Tullamore. I don't know which people would prefer now, but I would think they'd be a bit more conducive now to, like, what's Thurles, 40,000? I think maybe Tullamore or Portlaoise. Now again, depending on convenience, those would actually be more suited if you were to move it.
But having a guess, Murph, just a genuine guess, I think if Clare and Dublin went to a standalone venue, regardless of where it was, let's say now it's along as the crow flies, as you said, and it was in Tullamore, would you get 5,000 or 6,000?
I think you would. I do think you would get more than that now. I think you'd probably get. I think you might get 10 or 12. I think. Now, I could be completely wrong with that, but in fairness, like, Dublin are going through a good spurt at the moment, and Clare fans do travel, so. But yeah, I give him that. I could be completely wrong though, but
yeah.
Gary
Gary was just wondering. There was a doubleheader last year. It was Porky Queeve last year, so it was the Waterford Offaly game was first, and then it was the first of the saga between Tip and Cork afterwards, as I recall. 2 games in the park last week. It was close enough to a sellout. I don't think it was quite a sellout last year. I think the stands went, but it was a big crowd in at the finals, understandably, in Cork at home. As someone else pointed out, 20k at a dead rubber against Offaly tonight just shows where
That's
the Cork
ridiculous.
support is at. It's mad, isn't it?
That's crazy.
great. Yeah.
It just shows now that the Cork people are utilising the sport as nearly a weekend out or a night out. You know what I mean? Like it's more than just a game and a sport. It's probably it's a venue to travel for families to take part in their weekend activities as opposed to just attending a hurling match. Like 20,000 for a dead rubber is absolutely outstanding.
It's class.
Outstanding. Like, it's just crazy if you think about it.
Yeah.
The TG Carr covers then. So our experience of watching this wasn't pulling out a calf at the same time, Murph. So we were in a slightly more relaxed position. I was here with the laptop in front of me. You were at home. I think had 2 screens going at the one time because you wanted to watch as much as the Kilkenny game as you possibly could. I didn't mind the cutaways. I think when there are updates, it's absolutely fine. Like, I was grand. I went back to Kuno Flaherty, who seemed to be in the production truck, a little bit like the football final day last year, and I'm sure something similar to what they'll do tomorrow. And I was like, Nisha Waldron was at the Kilkenny game. I think was it Donald Grady was at the Cork game. And it was literally just a case of, right, so quick update, what's happened. I didn't mind because you got to see Mossy Keown's pirouette for his goal. You got to see the Cork goals going in. It gave you the story, what was happening, gave you the live table. I know some people felt it lingered maybe a bit too much, and there was definitely a Limerick score that was missed when it was over to the side. But I actually didn't mind that. I actually thought it was really innovative coverage, and if there was a bit more on the line, it would have been perfect.
Yeah, I think it's great. Again, like so often we compliment TG Cahir on their coverage, just overall in general. We mentioned the league final previously that last year did a savage job of it. I admire for what they did. Like, yeah, okay, maybe the timings it maybe could have lingered for less, if that's the way to put it. But I thought it really was good because I was really just obviously dialed into Kilkenny Tip game. But then when it was cutting away, I had the two screens open, so I can't remember was it cutting away in the main screen or was it cutting away in the laptop. But then being able to see the Cork and Offaly game and being able to see, I had Limerick and Galway on then as well, but I was keeping an eye on that. But I just thought it was great because at the end of the day, again, if you're watching one game, you can only watch one game, but it's grand to see the little clips of a good goal. And there was plenty of goals to look at as well across the game. So the goals were the main things then as well. But yeah, I get it. You might have missed the score here and there, but Kilkenny Tip was huge scoring. So you're always going to miss a score there. The same for Limerick Galway. You're always going to miss a score there as well. So it's a small bit of a casualty of the fact that you do a cutaway. But I wouldn't be too upset about that. I'm definitely not. I think it's fair play to TG Cahir that they had that organised.
Did you even notice the cutaway scale if you're pulling out a calf?
He was cutting away calves. That's what he was doing. Big delay.
The kids are back streaming.
I did, yeah, but I must say the last line you said, Willie, was that it'd be great if there was more on the line. You know, there was fuck all on the line for the two games. Sorry, no. There's fuck all on the line. So what was on the line was the game that was on television, and just as they were cutting away, there was an attack either way, and I was just I'm not trying to be dismissive of TG Cahir's efforts. It's great, it's fantastic, yada yada yada. But the game was the Galway Limerick game, and they kept cutting away from it. It was driving me cracked. So it's like, you have to understand, I was in an intense situation, Will, right? An intense situation, okay? Things weren't going well in the sheds. I had the phone on, no Wi-Fi, just things were going bad for me, okay? So I wanted to see all Galway Limerick. And then we're getting bet, and we're getting hockeys, and things were going bad. And then we're getting the comeback. And it was going great, and then the cow was at me. Now the Wi-Fi's fucked.
He's having a tough night. He's having a really, really tough night. But Galway looked like they were going to have a tough night, which segues very nicely into the main game of the evening and the one that decided the league final. And as Jared Dwyer said here, Galway are very much on the rise. The Leinster champ should be interesting. Limerick did what Limerick do against Galway, always close between these two. Didn't look like it was going to be close in that kind of second quarter where Micheál Dunne was saying afterwards, Murph, that kind of Galway let the game slip away from them, but they really came back into it. And then even when I thought after the Glan goal went in, I thought, right, Galway are goosed. And yet, right at the end of the game, you've got Mannion hammering in that free, and if Concussion maybe gets his follow-up a little bit higher than the shot that he took, possibly that flies into the net, and we're talking about Galway in the league final. I think they can be really happy with this performance. We talked about how Galway have advanced throughout the league and the players they've been looking at, but overall, they really stuck with Limerick at the Gaelic Grounds. Not too many teams are going to score 31 times at the Gaelic Grounds.
No, absolutely not. And it was the response each time from Galway that I was really impressed with. Because at one stage, again, like as I was turning across looking at it, they were 10 points down in the second half. Well, they were 10 points down, I think, in the first half. Going in half time, it was around 9 points, 10 points. And I was there going, oh, God, this is going to slip away from. Then suddenly you start seeing it drifting back 5 points, 4 points, 3 points. Did it get to 2 points at one stage? And then obviously you see the quality of Limerick. Ball comes off the post, goal, back to 5, and you're thinking, okay, Limerick are going to open it up again here. And in fairness to Galway, they closed it back in again. I think both sides will actually be happy with it because, again, the last couple of weeks, I've mentioned that I think John Kiely is really trying to steal this team. Like they've played a strong team from day one in the league. Like they haven't spared lads. They seem to be putting out a really strong team. And I think Kylie's really trying to refocus the Limerick team. So the fact that Galway came down and this Galway is on the rise, that's another thing that Kylie's going to say to the Limerick lads, to say, look, lads, here's another team that's on the horizon that if they see us in Croke Park or they meet us along the way, they'll be better than what they were today. And they're heading places, and like they're another team that are on our radar that could take us down during the year. From a Galway point of view, we spoke after the Kilkenny match, and like Skehill was saying, there was lads in Galway saying, protect the team, maybe don't play your full team so they don't get skippered by Limerick. And we were saying, listen, go down there, tog out, throw everyone out, and stand up and take it for what it is. And they did, and they were really good. Like driving back up the road now to Galway this evening, having lost their first 2 matches in the league, coming away disappointed you're not in the league final. That's a savage place to be, considering last year lads are going, Jesus, are we ever going to get anywhere with this Galway team? Is there anything coming through? Now we're looking and we're going, this Galway team could cause serious harm this year. So for Galway supporters, I think it's great. Skehill gets nervous when we talk them up, but I'm saying put your house on Galway to win the All-Ireland, because I really want to make Skehill nervous now.
I also just noticed I did click the Facebook option as well, and unexpectedly from Ciara Moynihan, who is obviously a Kerry supporter based in her avatar as well, there is talk David Clifford won't be playing against Armagh up the Kingdom. By the way, yes, I'm talking about Gaelic football. That would be the only Gaelic football that we do. I just wanted to check in there and say,
blasphemy.
If you're on Facebook and you are there, it is an option to put in comments from there as well. Before we get the opinions of Skehill on this, probably a silly question, but why isn't it in Croke Park if it's a double header? I think they try and get the games outside of Croke Park when it comes to the hurling finals generally. It's been a while since I've been there. I remember tipping Kilkenny playing a National Hurling League final in Croke Park, but kind of typically it tends to be down the country. Presumably it's to try and spread fixtures around for the best part, but like Limerick is extremely accessible for particularly Clare and Limerick. Cork, I think, enjoy going up to the Gaelic Grounds as well. I have good memories of the Munster final last year. It's Dublin who are probably inconvenienced by it, and look, I do appreciate there will be probably a bit of a scramble for tickets beginning on Monday for that. But look, keep your comments coming in. We'll keep flicking them and having a look through.
The thing is just throwing with that as well, is that if you were going to get, let's say, 50,000 people interested in going to the Gaelic Grounds, okay, Gaelic Grounds can't take 50,000, I think it's about 45, is it around there, somewhere around there? Anyway, if you had that amount of people that were interested in buying tickets for the Gaelic Grounds, given their locality, because you have Cork, Limerick and Clare, if you tried to bring that to Croke Park, it wouldn't be 50,000. I think it would drop to maybe under 40 anyway. So if you were just to say that numbers, like people travelling up the road to Dublin for the league final, and I think if it was on in Croke Park, I think we see a bigger argument saying it should be on in Thurles or it should be on the Gaelic Grounds. We'll be back to square one anyway. So that'll be just my 2 cents that Thurles or the Gaelic Grounds, spot on. Even Páirc Uí Chaoimh, but Páirc Uí Chaoimh is a little bit more of a drive. So Thurles, Gaelic Grounds, 100%.
Right, Skehill, Galway's performance then, because already River Power there, as you will have seen, is accusing Murphy of talking up Galway ahead of the Leinster Championship already.
We're going to win the All-Ireland, lads. I'm telling you now.
Camogie, is it? Camogie. We're defending champions, Murph.
Get out.
Bet Cork in today.
Put your house on it tomorrow. I'm just saying it.
You're saying what price is the double, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Throughout the course of this podcast and in its existence, that we've never talked up Galway, so please don't start now. Please. I'm quite content to have my position as the lowly poor Galway man until we actually win something. Today was. I saw the whole game first of all, despite all the challenges. And what I was saying last week about the game coming up, I was kind of hoping that we'd throw out our best team possible and have a cut at it, right? I think we put out 9/10 of our best team possible, and then we finished with our best team possible, if you ask me. And I came away, I'm enlightened, I really am. Like, I think in the first half we were really, I was questioning our tactics in terms of our puck out options. I thought in the dead balls we were awful. We caused so much hassle for ourselves between misplaced sidelines and puck outs and even frees. It's just we weren't contributing to helping ourselves whatsoever. And we kept running into the Limerick tackle, which it's a no-no. Like, we kept running into traffic, whereas in the second half then, despite what the distance that Limerick were ahead of us, we started playing the ball around and then just up the levels a little bit. And it just goes to show you that it can be done, like, which I think is the best thing that the younger lads specifically will take from today, is that, like, it can be done, but just there's levels to this thing. And what Galway produced in the first half was so poor, like, in terms of aggression, in terms of intensity, pace, enthusiasm, you name it. You can use any kind of word you want. It just was not at the races. And in the second half, a bit more youthful exuberance, and they went at it, And I don't believe they deserved to win the game. I'm happy with the way it finished in terms of, closing that gap and closing it well, shutting down the Limerick puck out, tackling fierce well in terms of the middle third. So there's a lot of positives to take from today, but that's it. Today is done. We lost 3 games in the league. Move on. Simple as that, and get ready for the championship, because our record in Leinster, I suppose, has been, I have to say, it's been abysmal. It's been abysmal over the last 5 years. And a county of our size, Murph, to be honest, with the players we have at our disposal, we shouldn't be allowing, and I mean this in the greatest respect, we shouldn't be allowing you to go for 6 in a row. At this point. It'd be remiss of me not to say that. So I think at this moment in time, I'm optimistic. I'm not flipping science delivering that Ireland like Murphy is, right? But I'm optimistic. I just think go with the youth, and what happens. Like, for example, you see when Neary came in today again, look at the impact he made in the wing forward position. Huge impact. Like, so when you change out some of the clientele, it just automatically ups the levels of your game. This pace, power, direct running, same with Rabbit. So I think you can take a lot from today's performance. I was worried there don't get me wrong, at half time I thought I was going to get away from us, but they stuck at it. And the subs we brought in, they contributed massively. And this is against a Limerick team like that where I won't say they were fully loaded, they weren't, but they were 9/10. They were 9 twin bull calves and Ireland Rabbit. Yeah. Look, but they performed fierce well. I think I didn't expect, truthfully, I thought they'd contribute well in the league, lads, but I didn't think they'd contribute as well, to be fair. I didn't think I'd see them play as well against Limerick today than what they did. Like, I think they contributed something between them, like, was it 12, 13 points, Will, off memory?
I
something
think so.
like that.
Just grab my notes here again, yeah.
That's an outrageous performance. And you add in Neary, who came on for, let's say, 20, 25 minutes, adds in 3 more. Like, we're missing Rory Burke, like another young man. I think there's great potential there for the long term. Now, how well that translates to the short term, let's say in the immediate future, I don't know. Because we know the championship is a different level entirely. It's levels above that. Like in terms of the championship pace, championship is 5th gear. What we saw tonight was 2nd gear. Straight up, it was 2nd gear. Like, Limerick got out of 1st gear into 2nd gear. They maintained that and still won the game. So there's a lot of level scope, and it's only in a short space of time. It's only a month away, less. But again, I think overall positive, quietly content.
Yeah, I did like that idea because someone had asked a little bit further up about the idea of you going to name any of the calves about these new young guns who are coming through as well. And also, I want to give the right person credit here. I think it may well have been Colin McCarthy further up. Yeah, good memory. 2019 was the Croke Park final between Limerick and Waterford. It was the Galan flick goal. Yeah, that was in Croker. Yeah,
that is a good memory.
That is the last one, though, isn't it? Someone else will no doubt remember one, but I'm pretty sure that's the last time we went to Croke Park.
Jeez, I don't know.
So it was a big attendance at that one, as I recall, as well. Because I remember we went through the attendances last year when we thought that Tip and Cork would be a sellout. That's my main memory of us talking about that game before. So yeah, very good goal, and that is a very good memory by Colin. So top of the class for you on that one. What did you make of the Galway performance then, Murph? Because we have to take into account where they have come from here, and we will talk about Limerick in a second. There's not me turning this into the Galway pod before someone accuses of that, but just given that we've just seen the comeback and seen how well they played at stages in that second half there, like, this is very different to some of the performances we saw early on in the league. You thought Galway kind of first round, not sure how the year is going to go. Maybe it really will feel like a year in transition to me, and I appreciate that Limerick did drop off a little bit tonight, and even after Lynch went off, their level seemed to come down a little bit as well. What do you make of that second half performance, though? Because Galway will see this now as the final marker before they go to Salt Hill in a few weeks' time, or to play you guys.
Yeah, the performance, like, when I look back, each team had their own little kind of a story of how the team evolved. Like, Galway played the first match in Thurles against Tip, and really performed really well. Couldn't get a result. Tipperary were really good on the night. So you're kind of going, geez, that was a nearly result there now. And if they got that, maybe it would kickstart their league. Then they go up and Cork play them up in Salt Hill. They're 7 points up, about 20 minutes in. And you're thinking if you could get that out a little bit further, would Cork rattle? Cork might bend the knee. I think there was a bit of a jostling going in at half time. Cork come out of the second half and just really start knocking on the scores. And again, they don't come away with anything from 2 good performances. Performed well against Cork as well. So then I think like the first points on the board was Offaly in Tullamore or something like that, or Burr, actually, I think it was. And they're starting to get then, okay, right, no one's really looking into that too much. It's no offence to Offaly, but no one's looking savagely into it. And then once they get a few points on the board, you're thinking, well, actually, these boys maybe do have something to prove here. Like beat Waterford well, could have beat them really well. Only for Billy Nolan was excellent, and then huge performance against Kilkenny, albeit Kilkenny were really poor on the night as well. So the big thing was when we were going down to, and this is what we said last week, is that we need a performance here. We weren't overly concerned about if or what they would lose by. I was thinking to myself, if they kept it within 6 or 7 and had a performance, that's a good night. That's a good shift for Galway. They did far more than that. So for me, this is a team that have evolved and didn't take, not beating Tipperary, not taking anything from the Tipperary game, not taking anything from the Cork game. Didn't take that too hard. Skehill said it last week. It's not about taking the losses, going too low on the losses or too big on the wins. They didn't go too low on the losses. unearthed a few right good players. And then like this thing for the last few years, we've been talking constantly about, it just looked like Conor Whelan was up there, and Conor Whelan was getting drowned out because a lot of teams knew if we stopped Conor Whelan, there wasn't really anything else around him. There's huge threats around now. And now what you see is Conor Whelan growing into games and being the Conor Whelan we saw when he was winning All-Stars in 22, I think was his last All-Star. But I just think that Munster shocking.
No, never mind. It was on the football side of things. Someone was like, "Oh, we're Munster shocking against the Sharks." Oh shit, wrong podcast.
Yeah. but yeah. So I just think now, like what we see now is we see Rabbit, we see Nyland really flying it. I mean, we've heard his name coming up for so long, and he's performing now. And we see all these other lads then, like, I mean, Mannion now as well. The pressure's off him to be the talisman that's doing everything, that's pulling all the strings. So they've really I think they've really grown. They've really, I suppose, the attacking threat that they have now has really developed. And that was the thing. I don't think defensively we were ever really questioning Galway too much. It was really what were they doing up top. Now they've shown that they have a lot of lads who are hurling with a lot of confidence. And like when I look back now, right, so you look how things change over the space of a couple of months once you get to the championship. You look at Tipperary. They lost the league final by 10 points last year to Cork. They won the All-Ireland by 15 against the same team. Like, and I know people will say, okay, there's nuances in that you can pull it apart and say this, that, and the other. Teams can develop savage amount over the next couple of weeks. And once they get into the round robin, there's still a huge amount of hurling to be done. Like I would even point back to when 2022, Waterford were flying it. Cork go down to town. Cork look like they're out of the championship. Waterford look like they're going for a Munster final. And in Walsh Park in the third game, Cork turned them over. And suddenly Waterford leave the championship. And Cork, I don't think Cork got out of it that year, but they performed really well. But basically my point is that with this amount of hurling done this year, Galway have a huge amount of positives to take from it. And I think they're only headed in one direction. So, and again, this isn't going back to me just randomly building them up. I'm just delighted, and it's kind of similar where I was with Waterford a couple of weeks ago, that it's delighted to have something positive where you're looking going, all right, these lads, we're going to be talking about these lads over the next coming weeks and weeks and weeks. So, yeah, again, if I was a Galway person, this is a good year that you can really, I suppose, get in behind the team and say, yep, these lads are going somewhere. And fair play to Micheál Donoghue as well. We haven't mentioned him at all. Couple of years of a project, he's put a few years under his belt now, and it's paying off.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, so the Limerick performance scale, because Crack of the Ash and a couple of others have pointed out foot off the pedal a little bit during the game, and that allowed Galway back into it. You can agree or disagree with whether that's a fair analysis. They were 11 points up at a stage.
Yeah.
They played some lovely hurling at times. As I mentioned, that second quarter of the first half, I thought Limerick were about to blow Galway away. Did enough. Is that a fair way of looking at their performance tonight?
Well, you need to look at the first half very, very specifically and say, did Limerick absolutely open up Galway from an attacking perspective? And the answer is no, they didn't. Like, Galway did not help themselves. We gave Limerick 1-3 by my count with the most ridiculous types of attempted passes and turnovers. And like 1 point distance is enough for Limerick. We're giving them 6 points without having to do too much. That's not good at all. And for the life of me, right, I've been involved in hammerings, getting hammerings and giving hammerings, right? I have never taken the foot off the pedal. If I was given a hammer, I'd never take the foot off the pedal. And I don't think, Murph, you have either. I don't think it's in Limerick's mindset or in their body composition to take the foot off the pedal. And like, you can't tell me now in the last 15, 20 minutes when it was heading in the melting pot that the Limerick boys weren't going for it. Of course they were. They're red-blooded males on the field of sport. This is what they're meant for. Of course they are. This taking the foot off the pedal, I can appreciate the comment, right? I get it, where you're coming from, but the Limerick lads never take the foot off the pedal. We've seen them roll over teams and keep it moving over and over again. And I can't remember the last time I've seen 31 points scored in Limerick. Now, there'll be fact checkers here, right? But I can't remember the last time. And 22 points and a half, I haven't seen it. So I'm coming away as a Galway man saying that what the Galway boys did in the second half with the 22 points was they made their own game. They made their own. They played their way into that game, and they weren't given anything per se. So from our perspective, it's a positive. And from Limerick's perspective, the performance, they won the game. That's all they need. And they're going away now, heading into a league final with things to work on, which is, I think, it's a fantastic position with John Kiely. I think one of the worst things you can do is go into a game like that today, essentially a league semi-final, win by 20 points. And, the mindset of the players could be a small bit complacent. I'm not saying it would. Whereas now, you lost a 10-point lead, lads. We nearly lost the game through a 21 or a deflection, whatever you want to call it. We've loads to work on in terms of our in the back line, particularly. I thought the full back line needed a lot of work this evening. They were as open as I've ever seen them, especially in the second half. And when a few positional changes, when Cochran went out to midfield and Neary came on, they caused big players issues. So, like, the commentator was saying Adam English and Conor Neal for the whole of the first half. Conor Neal was fantastic, but that, the quantity in which he was using their names in the second half, it went down, and they started saying Cathal Mannion, Jason Rabbit, Aaron Nyland. So there was dominance there in the middle third that Galway established, and that's not like Limerick to lose that area of the pitch when they've got such good players in positions 5 through 12. So I think if you're John Kiely, you're happy, which is with the win ahead of the league final. For me, I don't know, you're happy with the good performance. And the word I used when I said to the wife when I got back was that was a good stress test. So now, if you're me, I don't know, like, you're putting value in young players, which is a tough thing to do because it's your own reputation, it's your position as the Galway manager. You're putting value on young players who've never been tested this level, and you're essentially, I wouldn't say you're expecting, but you're hoping that they thrive and they carry the team forward onto new levels. And it looks like they are thriving, and more to come, please God. And this was the best stress test that those players could get in a tough environment with a tough crowd, and I think they came out really well. And if you're scoring these players, you'll have to give the young lads, and I said the under 21s, a good 8 out of 10, all of them. You'd have to give Rabbit, Nyland, Neary, Trayers. You have to give them an 8 out of 10. Same with Josh Ryan, 21 years of age, 22, 8 out of 10. So there's good markers there for Michael to take forward and say, right, can I trust these guys in the Heal Championship? The answer is yes.
Your boys over in East Galway who wanted the game thrown will be absolutely bulling with what happened.
They were yeah. I think they were kind of under the influence too. But
they're absolutely sick. I saw someone had up among the first comments while I was like, definitely posted at a point when Limerick were well ahead. It was like, so now we've seen what Galway are all about. And then someone else's post under like, wait till the game is over to put your comment in next time. So, good second half. There was a few bits there, Murph, to pick up on. Cathal O'Neill, again, he was the official man of the match tonight. The thing that's impressed me about Cathal O'Neill during, and I appreciate some of the other Limerick fans are talking about, how clinical Galan was. And I love that Galan point. I think it was 73 minutes, the one that he hit off his shoulder when Galway had got back to 2, and it was just a lovely score where he drifted out a bit. But Cathal O'Neill is getting into these really good positions, Murph. He's finding himself in goal-scoring positions. He kind of drifts in from places, and then he pops up in a really good place for a shot. It seems to be just something that has maybe added a bit for Limerick this year. And I know it's often a different runner who's coming through, but he's become really good at that this season.
Yeah, and sure, Cathal O'Neill for a couple of years was nearly the victim of his own success in that he could be played anywhere between 5 and 12 and kept getting rotated around, and by that fact never kind of nailed down a position. But like one of the most outstanding hurlers in the country, obviously when I just talk about all-round hurlers with great skill and everything. But I think that lends itself, like that running those lines lends itself to that he understands playing not only in the half backs but in the half forwards as well. So he's able to run those lines whereby either it's off the shoulder or it's onto a breaking ball, that he's taking that ball moving, and he's a big man and he's a great athlete. So but that goal tonight, they're running through. You either have to just absolutely come out and crease him and foul him and take a yellow card or whatever, or it's going to be this kind of Roy the Rovers type block, which rarely kind of come off. But no, Cathal O'Neill's an outstanding hurler. He performs really well anytime, even when he comes off the bench. Like the few times there where that Limerick 15 was kind of set and he was coming off the bench, he always made an impact. But it's very similar, I think, to the way we were looking at Adam English last year. Adam English kind of developed last year into that running style of those runs through the middle, and it wasn't something we'd kind of seen out of him previously. But then suddenly once he started doing it, it's like the other Limerick players expected him to be doing it, and then we're looking for him then when he was off the shoulder, and always expected him. Like, I'm trying to think, was it the goal against Cork and Cian Lynch popped the ball back to him and he was running through, and you were kind of wondering, how did Cian Lynch even see him? It was almost like that thing of you were suspecting that he was going to be running off the shoulder. Cathal O'Neill's making these kind of similar runs now, and they're very direct. And it's similar to like Kyle Hayes. Like one of the reasons people love Kyle Hayes at 7 is because he launches off on these runs and they're very direct. So, but look, Cathal O'Neill looks like that he's into a bit of a groove there as well. And yeah, that 12th position, I'd say he could have it nailed down. Unless they do a bit of rejigging, I'd say you'll see him there for the rest of the year.
It looks like the moment Tom Morrissey won't make the team.
No.
Yeah, it's looking like he won't start the first round. Yeah,
on current evidence, I think. Yeah.
Is
Dan Morrissey okay? Is he injured or what's the situation?
He was on the panel there, certainly.
He didn't feature a lot in the league, did he?
No.
Which is strange for a man of his caliber.
I don't think he was on the match day panel for today. Again, fact checkers will. I think both Morrisseys weren't.
No,
so, yeah.
No, neither Morrissey was. No, looking at it here, no. So I don't know. I have juries out on that. I haven't a clue.
Yeah. Obviously, look, they've rotated a bit at 3 and 6, but it seems at this stage, Gael, that at least when it comes to 6, that is now going to be Will Donoghue, despite Hayes having played, I think, one of the games. He played the Offaly game there.
But I just think it's a repetitive measure. So when you see these kind of repeats, and more than we're looking at Derek Corcoran for for Kilkenny, when you see a lad occupy a position continuously, regardless of who's around him, that's a fair sign that he's going to be set at 6, and he's doing fine. He's doing fine. Like he's when you see the value of what Declan Hannon was for Limerick, it's very hard to replace that. So he's not a Declan Hannon. He's a Will I don't know who. So the way he plays the 6 is different to Declan Hannon, but it seems to be just suiting just fine. And I suppose the question I have for Limerick at the moment is, are they going to invest in the younger lads more? Because even throughout some of the tougher games in the league, let's say, we saw Kiely bringing on players, at any stage of the game, regardless of if they're up or down. So I'm just wondering, like, is he going to, I'm not saying Peter Casey, Tom Morrissey, Hegarty, like Burns. There's loads of guys you can say that could get potentially replaced, and that's a testament to the Limerick team. But you're going to have to try get in English, O'Neill. You're going to have to get in Aidan O'Connor at this stage. You have to play him. He's so effective. Shane O'Brien's obviously going to play, so someone's going to miss out. And I think it's one of the good things we had said over the last couple of weeks is that's one to watch is who's picking that team. Yeah. Same with Cork, I have to say.
No, that's it. I mean, you can take up that point there as well, Murph. But Corey, similarly, do you think Kiely has now gone to the well too many times with his old guard compared to a young squad like Cork, Galway, Tipperary, etc.? He's still introduced a lot of players, though, hasn't he, Murph, over the last while? Like, I mean, I saw someone saying further up the chat, maybe Aidan O'Connor even could be considered player of the league, or kind of the way he's had the breakthrough this year. There's lads who are settling there who've got a good few All-Irelands, but are still quite young. Like, the spine of the team is still the lads who've won those All-Ireland medals, but he has tried out a good few lads, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. Now, I also accept the point that I think someone was saying there. Now, whether it's backed up by the actual stats that Limerick used the least amount of players, I believe it though, because it looks very similar. Like, I'm looking at the team here now, and like, I was very surprised the first day they went to Waterford. I saw the team and I went, Jesus, that's the strongest team of any of the county teams I'm looking at across the league. That's the strongest team that's been put out, and they've kind of maintained that. The thing was though at Limerick, I think we might have mentioned it in the first 2 weeks, was that we were wondering what way John Kiely was going to approach it, and I think we kind of mentioned that after last year, the way the way the Dublin match went, and it felt like that they were ambushed. I think he kind of went back to basics, threw a lot of stuff out, and went, okay, listen, this crack of taking any match for granted, we're not going to do it. So that seems to me the way that John Kiely is approaching. He's going, we're playing the best team each night. And it looks like that literally John Kiely is playing the best team he has available to him every single night. And by that way, he's putting a squeeze on the boys on the bench, saying that if they take that maybe they're not in the top 15 at the moment, well, maybe they'll get a reaction out of them that way. I know when people are saying as well, though, that maybe he hasn't blooded a few lads. Okay, maybe that's the point. But at the same time, like, when you're looking, would you look at a bench there now and go, let's say, Garrod Hegarty on the bench, Aaron Gillane on the bench, Adam English on the bench, Cian Lynch? People will be asking, why are you leaving all these lads on the bench? Like, why are you playing so many? Like, that's the best team he has. And I don't think he's doing it from a point of view of maybe seeing players. I get the point, though. I do take the point where in 2 or 3 years, maybe that's where you start seeing, well, was there an opportunity to blood players during this league that were maybe missed? Because that was something people kind of put on Liam Cahill when he took over. Maybe not so much Liam Cahill, but maybe his predecessors, that, those younger teams that came through, that they didn't really get blooded in leagues. So, look, I suppose to sum up, I think the reason that we've seen such strong teams from Limerick is what we've said in the first 2 weeks, that Kiely, off the back of being beaten by Dublin last year, didn't want to take the eye off the ball. I think he wanted to ingrain, could be completely wrong in this, but he wanted to ingrain a culture that every match we play, we're going out with the strongest team, we're going to try and win it. Kind of similar to what Ben O'Connor is saying in Cork, that every match we play, we want to go and win it, albeit that Ben O'Connor has probably played the most amount of newer players of any team, I think. So it may be a missed opportunity, but I think Kiley's thinking about this year. I don't think he's thinking about other years. I think it's this year, get back on the wagon of winning Liam McCarthy, and after that we'll worry about blood and players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a fair one. I definitely have one that is right in Skehill's wheelhouse here. Before we do, people have gone for their top 5 power rankings on the end of the league here. We'll go to that in a second. But before we get into that type of conversation, Paul D. Carty has said, for James, why didn't the Galway long puck out, or why is it not working as well as it would compared to his days pucking the ball out? So,
clientele, will, the people you have there. You have to understand, when I was pucking the ball out, I was pucking out to Kenning and Johnny Glynn and Sir Donlan, David Burke, Niall Burke, like big men who were able to contest primary ball themselves. And they were mobile as well at the same time. Whereas now we look at today's team with Galway, Cathal Mannion was by far the biggest person we had in the forwards, and he's like 6'2", so we had one guy wing forward that was probably 5'9", another guy wing forward that was probably 6 foot, your two inside forwards are below 6 foot, so it's hard to contest primary ball, and you're landing it down on top of 3 tanks, Burns, O'Donoghue, and Hayes. So it was just a basic. it was a biology issue, Will, if you want to call it that. But like, you see, the thing is nowadays, puckouts they've evolved so much to 2 things. One is space for a runner, and 2 then is primary possession. And Limerick do that so really so well. So Galway knew that in the first half. Hence, they had to go short with the puckouts. When they went short with the puckouts, Limerick put a great press on them and was turning them over and causing issues. And we couldn't get through the middle, really, essentially. And the ball into the forwards was non-existent. Hence, we only scored 9 points in the first half. That changed in the second half. We brought in more energy. We introduced more movement. So when you stay static, I said last week, the likes of O'Donoghue and Burns love that. They love to go static, wrestling man to man, drop the ball down top of us, and we see who wins it. When you introduce movement, and you move them both, let's say, vertically and laterally, that changes things. That's what happened in the second half. They changed it out. So I just think it's as I said, it's a horse for a course, and the horse that we have at the moment is not for the physical course. It's not for the one-to-ones. It's for movement. And I think Tipperary did the same thing last year when they introduced Jake Morris on the wing. And I've referenced this numerous times in the podcast, whereby once he introduced movement, it gave great options to the likes of Shelley. So, and then if you can win your ball up there, every county has lethal forwards inside now at this stage. So if we can get the ball into our full forward line through, our half forward line, we'll be fine as well. But that's where our problem comes unstuck. If we're depending on our defence to create the attacks for us, I don't think it's going to be there for us. So that's probably a long-winded answer to your question, or to the question. I like that question though.
It's beautifully long-winded, but I knew that would be right in your wheelhouse. Tip back that fact, one of my favourite names, particularly when they're on Twitter, making the very fair point that everyone's going to be talking about Limerick and Cork now, because Limerick and Cork, and then Munster getting away about Limerick and Cork, and who's won the league, and will it be Limerick and Cork in the Munster final again? I actually think if I was a Tipperary fan, Murph, that is exactly what I would embrace. I would say, let everyone talk about them. Last year, everyone was talking about a saga between them, despite the fact that Tipper got to the league final, and who lifted the McCarthy Cup at the end of it. I saw some of the Tipperary fans weren't delighted that we didn't go hugely more in on Tipperary last week with Waterford. Again, I would say, be under the radar. Don't have people talking about you. Just kind of quietly work your way into it, qualify out of Munster, and then what will be when it comes to the knockout stages. If I was a Tip fan, I'd be happy all the focus is somewhere else.
Well, if I had my choice, right, I would have Galway disbanded for the whole the Leinster and the Ireland Championship, and then quietly come around the corner. That's what I would have, yeah. The less said about it, the better. Didn't do Cork any favours all the talk last year.
No.
So, and we all fell victim to it, I have to say. Here's put my hand up. Yeah, I fell victim to it too.
I'm fine. I was totally seduced by their form. And then
I'm still singing the fucking Kiely song. And get up my fucking head.
Oh, God, where is that top 5 gone? The comments go by too quickly, and I do highlight some of them and then end up having to go back to it. So here we go. So Comp has come out with top 5. Limerick, Cork, Tip, Galway. Who is 5? Ooh. Jesus. Is that Kilkenny? Is that Clare?
Well, I'm going to seem to be biased if I say Kilkenny. So,
if you think Kilkenny, you're genuinely there, because I saw someone else saying controversial opinion. I still think Kilkenny will win Leinster.
But you have to go Kilkenny, though. You have to go Kilkenny. In terms of opposition they face, they have to go Kilkenny.
But this is the thing, like we haven't learned anything new really about Clare. This is the problem. Like, so if like Waterford coming out of 1B last year, I can't remember what rankings we did, but we weren't putting them up in the top 5 because they were in 1B. Like, we haven't seen enough of Clare, and at the end of the day, if Kilkenny came 5th, like we were saying Tipperary at the start of the year, the very first match, we were like, who's number 1? I think someone asked us that in the first match, or the second week even. We were saying, well, sure, Tipperary still have to be considered. Now we've seen more. We can say, is it Cork or Limerick now at the moment? Where are our teams at? Like, if it's a top 5 for now, sure, you just have to go by the league standings for me. But open to argument, gentlemen.
Yeah, but even going to today's performance, more like, by my count, Tipperary started 11 or 12 of their Ireland team, you could say. So for Kilkenny to go up and do the business, when I say do the business, you know what I mean, especially off the back of the previous performance against Galway. You can't be out of the top 5, I think. In terms of opposition, what are you facing?
What was the 5 that you put up there? Or what was the 4 you put up?
I put up a whole 10 there a second ago. Dublin is great as the same top 4 as was suggested. So Limerick, Cork, Tip, Galway. They've gone for Clare at 5, Kilkenny at 6, Waterford 7, Dublin 8, Wexford 9, Offaly 10. It's the old classic where someone needs a 5th answer and they give you all 10. So they've gone above and beyond with their answer there. So I don't know if we're giving out additional points. It's Clare or Kilkenny, isn't it?
In terms of choices, I think.
In terms of 5, right?
Well, I think I'm surprised Galway are in there myself now. Because when you stand back and look at the league, like we lost 3 games, and albeit it's against 1 through 3 there. But like I still stress test in the league is one thing which I noticed. Stress test in the championship is a different story entirely.
It's recency bias though, Skehill. People have just watched Galway play well in the second half.
I am not guilty of that. I am not guilty of that.
I know. But
let's put Galway down to 7, okay? Let's put Kilkenny up to 4. Here to 5.
Let's put your house in Galway, lads. I'm just saying. Heard it here first.
Look again. Fair point. Talk about under the radar, Clare. And look, we caveat, I think, everything that we say about Clare at the moment just purely because they're coming out of Division 1B. They rotated quite a few players. They looked at lads during this. They've kind of eased their way back into 1A. I don't think anyone is writing off the All-Ireland champions of 2 years ago or saying they're not in the top 5. It's just, that's the debate. I think it's one of those two if you're going to go for top 5 at the moment. I did like Dirty Den. I do love an EastEnders inspired username on YouTube. Yeah, sure, Limerick could be lucky to get in the top 3 in Munster. We're not doing top 3 Munster suggestions for today, but we do see the OG, one of our most frequent listeners, usually on the Spotify, is joining us on YouTube. Would it be fair that we can't read too much into Limerick's second half given the big lead they had, not ignoring the fact that Galway improved a lot, but perhaps Limerick's complacency helped? Is there an element to that, Murph? I don't know about the foot off the pedal element to it, but Limerick certainly weren't at their absolute best in the second half, were they?
No, they weren't. But again, I think like if this was Limerick 3 or 4 years ago, this game could finish 15, 16 points, like, because that's what we associated with Limerick. But I think it points back to, maybe it ties in with the point of against Dublin. Like they went up against Dublin in that quarter final. I think it was Adam English got the point and they went up, and you're thinking, okay, they're going to kick on here, and then they don't. So the point being is that regardless how it happens, and Scale's right when he says take the foot off the pedal. Like when Galway, we were up by about 10 points against Skehill and Tullamore in 2014, the first match. We were out the door kind of, and he came back and we couldn't stop he, and it was a draw game, and we were actually lucky to come out of that match with the draw really in the end. But it's a thing where you're like, geez, we don't want this to creep in. So at the end of the day, regardless how it happened, you don't want it to happen. Like this is technically a league semi-final is what this was, and Limerick wanted to be in the final. So going out, being up by 10 points, and is it letting Galway back in, or is it taking the foot off the gas? I think Galway put in a savage performance to come back.
Have you ever seen a team let someone back in?
No.
For the sake of the aesthetics, never. They've never let. Never let any. The other team has taken the foot, put the foot on the gas, and got a proper patch. Yeah, that's it. Then it's hard to stop it. So I can't see how teams nowadays, with all the professionalism involved in the sport, can be perceived to allow a team back into it. Fuck this, they do not.
Yeah. No, so like I just think that maybe, Limerick, it is something we've seen creep in with Limerick. But at the end of the day, the other side to mention about them is that they're still able to see out the match and just go and win it. Like, so that's the other side. So it's how would you read it? What was the question? What was the question?
Was it a case of you have to factor in somewhat with Limerick that they played well but dropped off a little bit when we're looking at Galway coming back against?
Well, Galway can control what Limerick did. They went down to try and beat Limerick, and if Limerick maintained the pace and Galway upped it, and Limerick didn't match them for about 15 or 20 minutes, and Galway come back into it, that's not Galway's problem. I really give credit to Galway now in their second half performance there. They could have packed in and just said, listen, we're taking a bait here today, and they didn't. They could have scraped a draw, if not a win. So there's a bit of both in it there. But it's not that Limerick dropped off massively. They just maintained, I would say, if anything, and Galway kicked back in.
Andrew Mullen is a subscriber, so hopefully Andrew will be around for the members pod when we put that up tomorrow as well. But this is a question for Murph and I. What could be considered a good year for Galway? And I promise we will move on to Tip and Kilkenny in a sec. What is a good year for Galway? We'd like to get all three of your opinions, but particularly Paul and Will, because they're neutrals. I think Galway have to target Leinster final. That's target number one. And then I would think that if they go to the All-Ireland semi-final and they were competitive in All-Ireland semi-final, I think that would represent a year of progress. It might necessarily be about the destination, but it's going to be about the performances that they put in along the way. But I would think an All-Ireland semi-final is what they should be approaching. What do you think, Murph? Is that too low an expectation, or should they be aiming for higher?
I think if Galway don't win the Leinster final in the All-Ireland, it's a terrible year for them, I think. I knew I'd get a reaction.
You got me there, you got me. I fell into it.
I think Galway, a good year for Galway is, yes, winning Leinster. Absolutely. Like at the end of the day, Skehill, you were saying you're going for 6 in a row. We're actually going for 7. I had to check it there because I was thinking we're going for 7. But anyway, Galway, like at the end of the day, I'm a Kilkenny man. I want Kilkenny to win Leinster. But Galway, a good year includes them winning Leinster. After that, then a good year for Galway would be being competitive in the semi-final. But I always find myself that's wishy-washy, like in terms of where Galway are coming from. Galway getting to an All-Ireland final. I think Galway are well capable now of winning Leinster final. They're well capable of it. And getting to an All-Ireland final. I'm not going to go the whole hog here and say, yeah, win the All-Ireland or whatever. But if they keep progressing, there's no reason they can't realistically aim for it. But a good year this year, let's say, all things being equal, is winning Leinster final and All-Ireland semi-final, and like getting to an All-Ireland semi-final and performing. That for me would be a good year for Galway. And next year we'll see after that. But I wouldn't be afraid to tip the scales a little bit further. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Galway got a bit of momentum. And like we saw what happened with Tipperary last year when they got momentum. Third out of Munster. Once they got momentum and they took every game as it came, suddenly they're in an All-Ireland final and it's a standalone game and you go in a minute. So there's lots of things that could happen there. But if I think for a lot of Galway people, if they went away with getting the monkey off the back of Kilkenny winning Leinster and they go to the semi-final and perform, Jesus, I think a lot of people would be happy enough in Galway with that. And I don't think that's underselling Galway as a hurling county. Like, I mean, Skehill, you by all means jump in.
I just want to see us win in Croke Park. We haven't won in Croke Park in 8 years.
Fair point. Yeah.
The last team we bet in Croke Park was Wexford in a Leinster semi-final, and that was the game before Murphy pipped us in the COVID. Was it 2018, 2020? Sorry, in the Leinster Championship it's 7 years, Murph, 6 years, 7 years since we won in Leinster, or we won in Croke Park. So tomato.
Yeah.
We've shipped our fair share of beatings there since, because any qualifier we won or quarter final has been in third. We haven't won a long time in Croke Park. So in order to win Leinster, got to win in Croke Park. And I think a good year for us is a stark improvement in our kind of intense and quality. So the way we've limped out of the championship, especially I think at the Leinster final last year, of how we Kilkenny were up by 14 points. Remember that?
Yeah.
55 minutes gone, and then there was a bit of a comeback. Do you know why? Because it was safe to come back. That's why. Whereas today there was a good comeback and against a good challenge. So I'm hopeful that we can develop a level of consistency that sees us through Leinster, win Leinster, get into a semi-final, and after that, then I think it's bonus territory for this year. To be fair, I'm not trying to undersell us or oversell us, but I do believe after what we've went through the last couple of years, if we get to a semi-final, that's positive ground. And if we win Leinster, which I think we have to, like I can't believe 7 in a row, you're going for 7 in a row. Like, 6 in a row is the years fly by, as you know. Like 6 in a row is so many. Like that. Jesus, that's a lot of fucking in a row.
Right, before we go on to Tip and Kilkenny at the draw in the Dead Rubber game in a second, Lohan for President, which is again fantastic YouTube name. Keep writing clear off, lads. We don't mind at all. We'd
is
love
that
us to play Galway.
Brian or Frank? You have to clarify that one. Surely,
clarify. One will be the vice president. One can be vice president. One can be president. Would love to see us play Galway in an Ireland series, though. Been a while. Is anyone writing off Clare? I don't think we have. No. I think any caveat that we said so far was you have to base this on the fact that Clare's 6 wins came in Division 1B as opposed to Division 1A.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I even said you can never write off the 2024 All-Ireland champions, and we were mentioning the fact that they've got lads kind of fit and firing and ready ahead of Munster this year as well. I think anyone would be a fool to write them off in either Munster or the All-Ireland series. So, Lohan for President, I don't think that's happening, but keep the siege mentality.
This time next year, like unfortunately, we'll have spoken less about Waterford and Offaly, but Waterford will say a little bit more. We'll have spoken less about them because we just won't be able to dissect their matches as much, and we won't know as much about them. So that's the only pity thing. So like whoever drops down to 1B, unfortunately, there's a little bit of a vacuum there that we just can't fill, and that's all.
Yes, no question, right? Are Clare coming out of Munster?
Here we go. Nose to digital clip this. Go on.
Sure, of course. Like this is me under the bus here now. Like that's a terrible thing. That's because after saying all the Galway stuff now, isn't it? At the moment, I'd say no now. And lads will go, okay, why are you saying no? I'm saying because the All-Ireland champions and the 2 league finalists are currently, sitting waiting in Munster. Tip have been mighty. Tip finished on 7 points. The other 2 teams are in the league final. So again, the unknown quantity of Clare at the moment, and maybe Clare's patchy performances then as well in Munster last year. Like, it'd be mad of me to say that Tipperary, Cork, or Limerick at the moment weren't going to make it out of Munster based off what we've seen. That's really where I'm coming from.
Yeah. By way of transition off this onto the other games, Declan McGee, has Offaly's time in Division 1 done more harm than good to the team? Not many positive results and didn't take any scalps off anyone. The simple answer I give to that is, as the Offaly representative on this stream, is that the last time they were in Division 1A a few seasons ago, they picked up a load of injuries, which was far more damaging going into the Joe McDonough that year than what has happened this time. The injuries were pre-existing, and Charlie Mitchell not being available to start the league before the league started. They haven't picked up a whole lot of injuries this time. That's been probably the only positive. Finally hit that 20-point marker tonight. It was interesting again. I kind of always keep an eye on Ray Boyne's post because I always find his statistical stuff interesting. Offaly had the worst shot efficiency in Division 1A, which was a big factor. They took loads of shots but didn't take them well. Scoring is a problem. The fact that some of the other teams are playing well, and we'll talk about Wexford, maybe that big score they put up on Kildare showed that they're maybe not going away in the way that people thought a couple of weeks ago as well. I think it's still going to be a fight for Offaly to stay in Leinster, but I'm not sure Division 1A has done any massive harm to them. Obviously, the two games that were damaging when it came to the scoreboard was the Tip game at home and Cork tonight. But Cork tonight was an impossible one to win because they were already relegated and they were going to have to play against a team getting into the league final, and Tip hammer Offaly routinely every time they meet, unfortunately. But outside of that, the game in Waterford was okay. I appreciate Waterford didn't play all that well that day. Kilkenny away, they played pretty well in the first game. And then, you take the couple of kickings, and like Limerick were comfortable in the finish in the other game in Tullamore, and Galway played very well against the wind in the game in Burr. So, it wasn't as bad as the last time that they were in Division 1A, but definitely it doesn't feel like they're coming out of it and, loads of players have been blooded. They ended up with a load of young players. Skehill asked me a couple weeks ago who was going to have the youngest starting 15 when the championship starts. Offaly, I think, started with 7 of their under-20s and brought another 2 off the bench tonight. I'm open to correction on that, but I think it was 7 started from their under-20 All-Ireland winning team. So it's a very young group of players, but it's been a difficult campaign. There is an argument that maybe you want a season like 1B where Offaly turned over Dublin, got promoted, and there was a real kind of good feeling going into Leinster last year. Then I didn't think Offaly played all that well last summer, even kind of struggled over the line against Antrim. So I'm not sure. It's not clicking yet, and scoring is still a massive problem, would be my take on where Offaly were. But I don't think anyone would have expected them to pick up a result. Like, leaking goals is a problem. Against the top opposition, Castlelong, I would agree entirely. I mean, the 2 games where they played against really top forward lines just goosed against both Tip and against Cork as well. Is Charlie Mitchell out for Leinster Championship? I don't know. The answer to that is the simple answer. I think it's been a case of, correct as Gary has pointed out, it was on medical advice that he wasn't allowed to play in the league, and it's an awful pity because he was Offaly Hurler of the Year last year and he was named captain before the season started. But I think the medical team are being very, very cautious, understandably, when saying to do around some of this cardiovascular, and he's been missed big time because he's one of those kind of fighters in the forward line. Offaly keeper played well. I see the club who's a Cork fan. Liam Moore's been excellent. He made some really good saves against Tipperary as well. It could have been an awful lot worse than some of those games, but I'm worried ahead of Leinster, but that's not something I felt before. That's not something I didn't feel before tonight. That last game in Kildare is probably going to still be a relegation 4-pointer at the end of it. Anyway, Tipperary against Kilkenny. You were watching this one, Murph, or trying to watch as much as you could. I did hear some criticism of the commentary. If we're going to give with one hand, we take with the other. There's a lot of incorrect names being used. People had tweeted to me earlier on. I saw a few in the comments as well. But aside from that, what was your take on the game tonight? Because we'll be accused of in the Kilkenny podcast again, but geez, after the Galway game, we were hard on them. So was there a response to them tonight in that game?
There was. It was a really good performance from them. Lots of positives to take from it there. I think both sides, it'd be really happy coming out of it, coming out of Thurles. But a big score put up, like Kilkenny 324, Tip 227, and there was a lot of scores on each side. There was 10 plus scores on each side, and even a few of the backs chipping in with a few scores. Robert Doyle and a few of them jumping in as well. On both sides, but Kilkenny started really well. It was funny. Both teams from the throw in first half and second half scored a very similar goal. Like Kilkenny, straight from the throw in, Tom Phelan gets a ball, pops it off to Liam Moore. 20 seconds in, I don't even think it was 20 seconds in, goal. Second half, then Tipperary do the exact same thing. I think Darren McCarthy finished it. But all around the field, Aidan Tallis, mighty in the goal. Geez, he made a few great double saves. On the Tip side, Jake Morris. Actually, Skehill, you missed them. He made a few savage saves. There was one double save that he made. He saved. I can't remember who took the shot. Point blank save. It wasn't Morris. Can't think anyway. Made a save. Blanchfield got back, blocked it, and then got back up again, and he made a second save. Top class, in fairness to him. Jake Morris was outstanding. Jake Morris, like, again, I think I've been as a Kilkenny man batting for Jake Morris for quite a while. Not that he needs me to do that or anything, but like when I was kind of mentioning around the All Ireland last year, maybe after All Ireland, people were talking about obviously John McGrath, very deservedly hurler of the year, but I was just putting in my 2 cents for Jake Morris. Like, this is what Jake Morris does solidly. Like when okay, John McGrath's man the match against Waterford, and first match back starting, fantastic. But Jake Morris just consistently hurls. I think he came away with 1-5 from play, if I'm correct. That's what I have in my notes here anyway. He was top class, So just from the Tipperary side, they had Darren McCarthy as well, really good. Just looking down there, like I said, great few spread of scorers as well. I was happy with Kilkenny's response as well. Like, when Tipperary went up by 4 points, maybe 5 points in the second half, you're thinking there that maybe a few of the ghosts might come back after the Galway match and they might drop the heads. They didn't. They responded. TJ was great at full forward. TJ actually caused savage problems. Like, first match back, I have him down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've known for 1-6, and that's 1-4 from play. He's marking Ronan Marr. Like, there wasn't much Ronan Marr could do. The ball was coming in, and TJ was just ghosting away. So there was lots of positives. Like, Keane Kenny got 3 points from midfield. There's plenty of lads you could look around on, but I actually do think, you'd love to see, from my point of view and Tipperary's point of view, you want to win the match. But when draw actually happened, you're thinking, that's actually a fair result. Like, both teams were really good. Kilkenny were up by 3 or 4 in the first half. They're actually up by 6 at one stage when Tipperary got the goal. But in the second half, Tipperary looked like they were about to kick on and Kilkenny came back. So it probably was a fair result. Good crowd down there as well. I don't know what the capacity, or not the capacity was, what the attendance was, but there was a great crowd in Thurles as well. So look, yeah, from my point of view, if we're talking off the back of the Galway match, like, I didn't get too low after the Galway match. It was very disappointing, and I said here, look, you can't accept that performance. There was nothing to take from it by way of positivity. But in the second half here, or within the Tipperary match, there was a huge amount to take from it, which is really good. Like, Tipperary didn't have to come to this match to take very much from it. They've had a really good league. They're All-Ireland champions. So they're ticking over nicely. Kilkenny needed a performance tonight going out to Thurles. And I think both teams now, like, bowing out of the league, this match done now, and off they head for their training camps and do whatever, get ready for the Munster and the Leinster. I think both of them are happy heading off now. Like, Kilkenny will have more to do, but they're going, at least we didn't finish after the Galway match on a whimper. Like, we performed really well, and now we can carry that forward and say, look, lads, this is what we can do when we perform. And likewise, Tipperary put up a huge score, got goals, looked like that they're really, I suppose, taking over in fourth, dabbling into fifth gear. It didn't look like a full fifth gear out of Tipperary tonight, but there was lots of good tackling, lots of good hits, good game. And for something that was a dead rubber, it was a really good match, because these things can sometimes just peter out into nothing. It was very good. So do I see Tiago Silva saying there 10,240?
That's incredibly accurate take on performance, 10k plus. So.
Yeah.
So Murph, your house is neutral again tonight, so
it was always Kilkenny, but
no bragging rights.
There was not at all. I wouldn't have it.
That's a sign of a good marriage. You can take this one up, Skehill, from Martin Furlong, who has the best Davy picture of all time, I think, is his avatar for YouTube. Is it not worrying, though, that a player in his late 30s is so vital for Kilkenny?
It's so vital. That's a bit. I would class that as a touchy and strong. I understand he's important to Kilkenny. In terms of vital, like, is the team worse without him? I would argue if Khadija at 14, the team was way better with him. Does the team suffer badly without him? It suffers, but they don't go to shit. You know what I mean? So I don't think he's the lynch. Like, I don't think he's the. Murphy, if I'm wrong, correct me here, but I don't think he's the savior. So the absolute necessity, like, Kilkenny would depend on him for life or death, that he was in years previous. Yeah. I think he's a cog in the wheel now, but a major cog. Don't get me wrong. I think he's specific to 14. I don't think he can go across the half forward in today's game, to be honest, just with the way the pace has gone and the power, the athleticism that's required there at the minute. He's still heading for 38 this year, Murphy, is he?
38 this year, yeah.
Yeah, so like, is he able to play 70 minutes? Like, is he going to be, a starter and trying to hit for 50? Like, that's extremely important. So I think there's going to have to be a little bit of responsibility shared. Like, people are going to have to step up and take more often. Like, I think last year, Mossy Keown was the first person that really, showed up that he can be, a shining light beside him. And if you add in John Donnelly, add in Adrian Mullen, add in, Owen Cody, the clientele are there. So I don't think that this word vital, I don't think Kilkenny are going to die without him. But just the supporting cast have to do, get up to his levels, to be fair. But when you see him, he's putting Ronan Maher through his paces. And this is one of the good questions I would have. Ronan Maher came back to the league late, and so did TJ, don't get me wrong. But maybe someone like Ronan, or backs in general, who need, hurling continuously, that need more games to get sharpness up. Maybe that was something that you'd look back and say, right, he needed to be in earlier, to get me, as opposed to being rested for longer periods of time. But it seems to suit us. TJ seems to be the kind of person that times his run well in terms of coming to the league late.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's a bit like the Dan Carter, Richard McCaw situation. Save them when you want them.
Yeah.
So don't waste them, but save them when you want them.
Yeah.
But you're rattling. What you say? 1-4 from play.
1-4 from play is what I have him down for. Yeah.
If he contributes that every day, sure, geez, of course he's critical. He's critical to the cause. Yeah.
The point I'd make is that people get too caught up in the age. The age thing is a remarkable thing, that he's still moving and performing and doing everything there. But you just have to break down the stats. If TJ was standing in the edge of the box there and he wasn't getting the ball, and lads are like, "Jeez, there's nothing coming through in Kilkenny because they have a lad heading for 38, standing on the edge of the square, not winning ball." But to take the name out of it and take the edge out of it, if you said you have a player there that is going to go in tonight and score 1-4 off Ronan Maher from play, you go, "Oh yeah, we're absolutely starting him." It doesn't matter about his age. It doesn't matter if he's 20 or he's 38. If you're able to do that, you're a great player and you should be on the field. So I think people and I'd be in that camp as well. It's remarkable what TJ is doing at 37. There's very few players could go to that.
He's nearly 39.
Sorry, is it?
39. He's 39 later this year.
You're right. You're right.
Is he Richie Hogan's age group?
37.
It's 1987, baby, isn't he?
38. You're right. He is. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
He's the last survivor of the great year of '87.
Yeah, you're right. Actually,
there was a host of really good forwards came through that were born in that year. So that's the main reason I remember he's 1987.
That's actually right, and I should know that.
Never mind. It's fine. That's why I'm here.
Don't be interested. I will, let's say. So he's obviously the last forward of '87. I wonder what the next year of the oldest forward is after that. I'd say you skip 88, you skip 89, potentially you skip 90. You head into 91, 92. Yeah, I think that's as far as you're going, isn't it?
In Division 1A, I'd say there's very few around. Obviously, Noel McGrath plays out the field. I'm thinking of older players who are still doing it at other teams. Horgan's obviously retired now.
What age is Lee Chin? Lee Chin.
That's Jason Ford, yeah.
Jason Ford is another fellow I was thinking of there. And going through the counties here. Very few.
Don't worry. Someone in the comments is going to point out someone who's 37, 38.
Or if I can feed it, the comeback is on.
Tell you, 2 weeks in a row.
You're counting Egypt.
Oh, they don't. They definitely don't.
How'd your fullback get on tonight? After all of our talk about it last week,
I think Paddy Deegan was at fullback tonight.
Right.
He wasn't down to he wasn't there.
But
Garrett
he rotated back in, did he? Yeah.
But I think he rotated back in. But then, what way did it work? I think Derek Corkin was playing a fair amount there. Derek Corkin sat very deep then at one stage because Ivan Bulger went off. So I think what happened was they slotted Digo out corner back, and I think Blanchfield came on and went centre back, and Derek Corkin went full back. So I think that's what kind of happened. But they were kind of all over the place. So it was a little
dub.
What's that?
That sounded pure dub.
Digo. Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but no, they hurled well. They hurled well. There was no complaints. And my one compliment to the team overall all around the field, their tackling, their intensity, which just wasn't there against Galway, was there tonight. Liam Moore, for example. And it was the younger players I'd point to, Liam Moore. I made note of me in my diary at one stage. If anybody was watching the match back, which they probably won't. In the 27th minute, Kilkenny won a free from a turnover because Liam Moore ran from the full forward line out as far as the left half, past the left half back position into midfield to chase a fella and flick it. Comes back to TJ. TJ's fouled, and we get a point over the bar. That was in any day. That's a mighty thing to do.
I like that, man.
Yeah, you'd love that. And I could see him. I could see him running. I was like, and he did a few more that he just didn't get to him. But when I saw a full forward doing that, you're like, right, these lads, in fairness, they've taken on board what happened against Galway, and for love, for whatever's going to happen, they're just going to run and tackle. So that's what I saw, and it was happy. So from 2 to 15, the outfield players, I can't complain at all in terms of their tackling intensity. Where they were beaten by Tipperary, they were beaten by skill and class, like Jake Morris. And I saw corrected there, Jake Morris actually scored 1-6 from play. So Jake Morris was just outstanding. But I wouldn't be criticising who was marking him. He was just untouchable,
No, and look again, they've again blooded further in this league. Last week, Actually, forgot to mention, because we went on the tangent of all tangents in the middle of Waterford Tipperary, as many people both noticed and criticised last week. We got about 20 minutes in, we were talking about that game. We drifted off for about 25 minutes into a slightly different direction, and then eventually kind of segued back into Tipperary against Waterford. And forgot to mention last week how well Stephen Tobin had played with his 4 points on his first start in the league as well. Again, the midfield was switched around a bit for tonight for the game. You got to see Tynan for the first time for this year, I think I noticed that when the team was named. So, again, Skehill, he's not Liam Caldas is resting on the laurels of last year and going, hey, do you know what? I've got an All-Ireland winning team. That looks like it's all worked. He's tried a few lads out in different positions. He's tried a good few lads out during this league campaign as well. What are you making of Tipperary as they get ready to go into Munster now?
I like what they've done. I think if Tipperary went through last year's Ireland Championship with a pure domination phase, like in the manner that Limerick had done in the past, I think the team would stay the same. I like the way the Cahill has kind of, shuffled the deck a little bit. Interesting to know, I didn't see the game now, fellas, but did Oisin Donoghue end up in the backs again, or midfield?
Oisin Donoghue was left half back.
See, love it. Love to see it.
I believe he was, yeah.
Love to see it. One thing with the youth that I sometimes I take umbrage with people that say this, like, they blooded these new players. Well, like, blooding the likes of Aaron Nyland or blooding the likes of, let's say, a Darren McCarthy is easy, because that starts from the very beginning and saying you just move them forward. But making a decision to move a player like Oisin Donoghue from the forwards to the backs, and if that pays off, that now is a different level of coaching and a different level of assessment. So when I see someone like Kyle Hayes, who was a dominant forward, and Kiely puts him back in the wing back line, you're thinking, oh my God, worked completely unbelievable for Limerick. So if Liam Cahill can adopt that kind of approach and see players that he has at his disposal and utilise them, away from their perceived strong areas, i.e. the forwards, and put them back in the backs, that's some level of management. And if he's able to do that in the league and it pays off in the championship for Tip, hasn't been a hugely successful league for Tip? Hugely successful. Yeah. So that's what I would value coaches and value managers. They're able to do that. Assess the youth they have and say, right, you're actually a class forward, but I can utilise your skills elsewhere for the benefit of the team. So when you ask me how are Tip moving, I like what they're doing in terms of trying to assess what they have in real time. They know what they have in the Noel McGraths and the John McGraths, and they know what they have, but what more can they add to the mix? And like I remember saying, was it last year, the year previous, that when we were talking about the youth and the strength of panels, nobody was talking about Tipperary, but they were coming solid off the backs of their minors and their under 20s, and now that you're beginning to see that. And over the next couple of years, I think that'll get stronger, to be fair. They just seem to have a plethora of young people that are able to come in and add it to senior, from the off. So I think I know they didn't make the league final, that's fine, but if you're grading their league as a whole for what they've unearthed it, I think it's a solid 8 out of 10 as well, to be fair. I think it's solid 8 out of 10. Yeah. So I think Cahill's happy.
Yeah. Where are you with this, Murph? I think you also have to take into account they were a bit later back than everyone else, and that's understandable after pushing into the winter a bit with celebrations and all that type of stuff. And Liam Call's been quite open that maybe the work started a little bit later than last year. How do you see them fixed coming into Munster now?
Oh, they're absolutely fine coming into Munster. Like the beauty of winning All Ireland is that you kind of have this bedrock of confidence coming in anyway. It's not false confidence, like it's just a belief because you've been to the summit now. They didn't lose. I don't think they lost one player from that panel from last year. So they're coming back in now going like, not only do we have the same panel of players, but we have the lads who are probably from 16 onwards. They've actually gained players. Barry Hogan's back as well, wasn't it? So they're actually up players by way of sub goalkeepers or goalkeepers, whatever way you want to put it. But they, like the lads who are from 16, let's say mostly during the game, 16 outwards on the panel, like they're all now baying for blood to try and get into the team as well. So you come into a really healthy place. They weren't coming in looking for too many things, only good form, hurling really well. I'm not going to say taking over. They were obviously looking to hit certain heights, but they performed. They came away with 7 points from the league. They'll be very happy with that. And going into Munster, like it won't knock a funk out of them that they're not in the league final. Like maybe last year, I think we were saying that. Did you think I said something other than funk there, Skehill, when you laughed?
No, I just said funk is a word I haven't heard in fucking years. It's so random.
I was like, he thought I said something else.
No, it's pure you that you'd use the word funk.
New word for the show. But it won't. Like I just think they'll come into the championship now ready to rock, looking to try and do it back to back. So they're in a really good position. And as Skehill said there, like they'll say 8 out of 10. They're not, like no team is looking to hit 10 out of 10 at this stage because you have to maintain that 10 out of 10. And there's a big bullseye in your back. Tipperary are in a lovely place at the moment. They're after trying a nice amount of players. They've performed when they needed to perform. They'll be very happy. And they're in good stead now heading into Munster. So they'll have no fears.
Where was I here? Oh, yeah. Jason Ford taking frees, McCarthy on the pitch. Is that a sign for the championship from Declan? So Darren McCarthy was talking to us and off the ball during the week. He was launching the fail up in Croke Park, and he basically the one takeaway I took from it was he was like, I ain't changing my free technique. I don't care if people boo me. You can boo away. I think even at times last year though, didn't Ford pop over to some of the frees? So McCarthy will hit them, and I know obviously there was the game where Ford took over in the semi-final.
Yeah.
But generally, Ford will take some of the longer range ones anyway, won't he?
Yeah, they kind of seem to
It's an option to have, isn't it?
Yeah, but if McCarthy,
I know McCarthy usually hits them. Yeah,
but if he was situated in the 13 corner, for example, at some point, and there was, let's say, a free on the 21 on the 15 corner, like Ford was taking them last year, wasn't he?
I don't know specifically which ones he was taking now.
But the point being is that like the fact that McCarthy got the frees in his first year from someone like Jason Ford I think is a signal in itself. So I don't believe that they're going to be taken off him per se.
Yeah,
like the goal at the end of the year was to win the Ireland, and they won it with a 19, 20-year-old taking the frees. I think he's proven himself, to be fair, especially in the final.
Yeah.
That penalty, yeah. So no, I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, look, I think it's also a good position to have if you have something like what happened in the All Ireland semi-final last year, where McCarthy's not feeling maybe as confident in the frees as he was. That Ford can just step over and take them, and you have another really good free taker on the pitch at the same time.
Yeah.
Some teams who maybe aren't as sure about their free taker or their backup free taker in that case, or again, if he gets injured or goes off or whatever else, Ford can just kind of shuffle across and hit them, which isn't really a problem. River Powers take on Tip there. No, go on, Skehill. What are you going to say?
I was going to ask: is it fair to say that Tip have two of the top 5 free takers in the country?
Who else are you putting in your top 5? I love how you create a list for yourself here.
Because as you were talking, I was doing the top 5 in my head.
Right, go on. Give us your power ranking.
I think number 1, by a distance, I think is TJ.
Okay.
No, when I say but so I'm classing TJ as a 98 out of 100 man. You know, and the two he misses from a fair distance, I think. Again, disagree with me. Fucking throw it out.
Go on, name out your 5, will you? Name out your 5.
Hey, relax. I think
I already think this is ballsy because I'm thinking I was like, there's 5 lads in my head already, and I'm like, oh, there's lads we're going to miss out here. Go on.
I love these.
Yeah. So I'm going to the county. Is the Cork free taker in my top 5 at the moment? Nope.
No.
Claire.
Would Horgan have been in there if he was still playing?
Yes. Cash
I wish, yeah.
100%. Jesus, that's a tricky list, lads. Waterford, no. Kilkenny, yes. Galway, not yet. Aaron is the free taker at the moment. He's not in the top 5 at the minute.
Aidan O'Connor's looked really good in the freeze for Limerick.
I was saying you probably have 2. You already have 2 from Limerick. I was thinking.
Yeah, I was going to use 2. I think you have 2 from Tip. You have 2 from Limerick. You have 1 from Kilkenny. At Clare,
Burns and Connolly are brilliant at long ones. If you want to take
brilliant,
that, far back.
I'm talking about repetitively, yeah. Who would you put on the Clare freeze? Like, is Mark Rogers taking the freeze? Is Duggan taking the freeze? Was Kelly taking the freeze? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no standout there automatically.
Yeah.
Since McCarthy left.
I'm not going to Leinster. I'm going with 2 Limerick, 2 Tip, and 1 Kilkenny. Ooh, yeah. That's going to put the cat amongst the pigeons.
Yeah. Right. Donald Burke's a very good free taker.
Yeah.
Dublin.
That's a very good point. Wait, there's no...
Like, Dalton will take him for Cork, won't he? You're not sure he's going to play it.
No, he won't. He'll take long range. I don't think he'll take... Alan Connolly take them for Cork, won't he?
Yeah, probably, actually, yeah.
I don't know. I think if Dalton's playing,
I see Carl Mannion been mentioned there as well. It's going to be Nyland taking them, though, isn't it? Realistically,
yes.
Most of them.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I can't say Carl is better than the 5 I said.
Aidan McCarthy might be taking them for Clare. Yeah.
Jackie Dalton, best long range free.
There's a fair point out with Dara Murphy. Boom, another of the new guns when it comes to free taking. Ruben Halloran was really good in the league.
He was, yeah. I
need a longer spell to probably
just need a longer spell, like, you know. Like, I mean, put it this way, like Jason Ford, his performance there when he not only took over to freeze but from play, he got a great point for play against Kilkenny, kind of turned the tide for Tipperary in that match, really, like, as in they steadied the ship when they'd missed a few frees there. So, like, you're talking this type of real kind of when you needed performance from a fella that will bang over them frees. It's not a case of, Lord knows, I was never on freeze in my day, like, but, you know, taking them during the league is one thing, but when it comes to championships, when you see these lads in the championship, that's when you can see a bit more from them.
Right. Everyone's throwing suggestions in there. Power rank the top 5 free takers. The question we didn't even know you'd ask.
But there's someone jumping in there saying Ed McCarthy is gone. As we know he's gone. Someone else had said it there. Like,
sorry, someone else said that higher up. Sorry, my bad.
It was in the comments. So people think
I was literally reading the comments. Sorry, that wasn't me editorializing myself. That was further up.
Just so I'm clear, fellas, is Ciaran Sullivan not the free taker for Dublin?
Yeah, but Donald Burke was injured when he started hitting them, wasn't he? So like Burke was probably a very good chance he hits frees later on in the year. It's just he's a very good free taker. That was more my point than anything else.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's more sign of move the fuck on. Move the funk on. Move the funk on, will you?
And look, Stephen Bennett's a very good free taker as well, but it seems that Halloran is currently their first choice free taker, so we're judging on that. Yeah. It's a good point. Tim O'Mahony can hit them for Cork, so can Connolly. A few Cork fans saying that too. It's hard to know. We're kind of at the point. Wayne O'Byrne Cuz is loving this comment, and I'm going to throw it at you because we'll move off to other games in a second in 1B. What is the most embarrassing thing that's happened to two lads in a game? Because this definitely meets the tangent for this podcast.
Jesus.
So keep Wayne happy there, Murph. What's the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you in a game?
Jesus, that's a random one. That's a very random question.
It is, yeah, but he's asked it twice, so I'm like, let's give him a chance.
Do you know what happened to me one time there was in Nolan Park? I think we were playing Clare and Owen Murphy came off the line and I think Shane O'Donnell won the ball and I was running back across the goal. Shane O'Donnell would take a shot and he scuffed the shot. So it's coming at me like a normal ball. I fucking rolled through my legs and went into the goal. That was scary. But you know, it's one of those ones like Skehill, you'll know, like you catch a ball and it drops into, or you go to catch it and it drops in. Like they just feel like just killers. I'm trying to think that would probably be. It hadn't happened with the club now or anything.
Hold on. Here's a suggestion for you, Murph, so you can respond to this one. Coming in from Dara here. Bubbles goal with Murph on his honkers.
Oh, my honkers?
Is that the 2019 All-Ireland final?
I was on my honkers, was he? Well, no, is that not... sorry, is Seamus Callanan's goal when I slid across to it, was it? Like, well, he obviously got the goal. Bubbles goal in 2019. I know he scored, but I don't remember where...
Was that a Joey Holden, Murph?
Give us more information, Dara, before he can respond to this. Only Fred that will answer this too in the context. Geez, no, I think anything I answer there wouldn't be fair. 2016, Jimmy is saying.
I wasn't on my honkers in that one. Bubbles turned that one. Yeah, I dropped my hurl, Bubbles turned. And I wasn't on my honkers though. I don't know what on my honkers means. Does that mean like you're sitting on your heels or something? Or
no, crouch down, ass to heels.
He's left you in the dust, I presume, is what they mean.
Yeah. Well, he scored a great goal, absolutely. Like, Jesus, Lord knows I know that.
Skehill, is it the one that TG Carra keep on flicking into video packages, the one that you let go in past you?
Jeez, I've let a few in past me now, to be honest.
I know, but that's the one that kind of drops in. It was a ball dropped in and you kind of misjudged the bounce. Remember that one?
Oh, that one, yeah. That's the one. That was, what year was that? That was 2000, and we're going back in the years now, fellas. That was 2008. Jeez,
I know. I remember being using the package when you were
imagine 18 years ago. Jeez, that's ridiculous. That's sick. That's the most embarrassing thing of it all at the time. This is how long ago it was. Fuck. 18 years ago, well, yeah. That was it.
They're mad keen on Bubbles here. Richard Hogan, why didn't you just take a yellow on Bubbles?
Because Richard Hogan... It's easy when you're at home looking back on these things to go, yeah, of course I would have taken that now. But you have a split second to decide. And
may I say, Murph, as my neighbour says, he said, hindsight is the foresight.
Hindsight's brilliant. Like you can go,
he said,
sorry. Yeah.
He said, hindsight is the foresight of a gobshite. That's what he said, right?
But like the thing is, I put it this way. So when people look at these things and say, why didn't you do this during the game? It's like, you go back through any All-Ireland final. And let's say last year they go, why did Patrick Collins try and take the ball down from the crossbar? You say, well, of course, if he had a sign back, he wouldn't do that. You go back through any games, you say, why didn't someone, do X, Y, and Z? You have a split second to decide, and the game is moving very fast, and probably a lot of stages, you're goosed as well, you're very tired. So you're trying to make a decision. And when you look back in the match, you go, feck, I would have done that differently. But you only get one crack at it. That's it. So it's, like you can even go back at matches tonight and lads go, oh, why didn't lad do this? Why didn't lad do that? It happens 100 times. The thing is, when it's in an All-Ireland final, it's a case where it's like, it's highlighted and you're like, Jesus, but that's the risk you take. And
I think the word as well, I think the word embarrassment now was a bit of a stretch.
You know what I mean?
No, River Power has pointed this out well, Skehill, by saying embarrassing is like forgetting to wear your underpants or something like that, and not getting turned or missing a hop.
Yeah, true. True, yeah.
River Power has taken my point exactly as I mentioned it to come across. Like embarrassment, I wouldn't class it as embarrassment. Disappointing, yes, that something happened you didn't want it to happen with the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah.
In real time, as I said, more for real time, these things happen 100 miles an hour in your head.
Yeah.
You're trying to imagine the best outcome mentally to make it happen physically.
Yeah, like, and a lot of lads will never ask you that. Like, it's not saying this like to fellas, oh, like you didn't play, you wouldn't understand. But a lot of lads will just understand that when certain things happen, you go, yeah, like I mean, there's fatigue involved, there's X, Y, and Z. You're marking outstanding forwards. Like if it's the case of myself or whatever it is, you're trying to save the ball against outstanding forwards. And let's go, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you jump top corner and save the ball, Skehill? It's like, well, I'd love to have done that, but it just didn't have it at the time. So
we will get back to the hurling, I promise. But Dara with a follow up. Did any of you get a detention or suspension while you were in school?
There's no. I can answer.
Where are we going?
I can answer this for you. There's no way you ever got suspended. Never in your life.
No, I didn't.
I just know by you. There's no way.
Well, Skehill impersonated a guard, which involved him getting basically picked up in school. So I presume that answers you.
I was suspended a few times.
What were you suspended for? Jesus.
I was suspended for. There was one teacher, and he used to drive me fucking daft. He just used to push my buttons, and I threatened to cut the brakes in his car. So I got suspended for 3 days.
Oh Lord, that's what suspension was invented for.
Yeah, I didn't sure there was suspended for the row. You know yourself. Oh jeez, that was suspended for 2 times. Yeah.
I never got suspended from school, but I did get kicked out of the metalwork class of one of the Lairka Gael people this year. I was in Porricorn's first year metalwork class, and in a case of mistaken identity, he thought I was taking a piss and he kicked me out of his class.
Go away.
Yeah, he let me back in eventually. He thought I was someone else.
You deserved it.
Obviously I did, yeah. It seems so. Like a class of absolute hyenas that were in there. He picks me out and basically kicks me out of the class really, really angrily. Yeah. But Paz is a good man. He just... picked out the wrong guy. And you see, you have to have a spirit of don't squeal on other people. So like if you did that, it'd be an awful lot worse. So I just took the punishment and had to sit outside and watch in for a couple of classes. Yeah.
Did you ever start the lathe in metalwork wheel with the truck cleaner and it goes flying it? I was different for that. It was on purpose. I killed some lad.
Oh God, Super Duracell, we will do our top 5 hurlers of the league. I do, threatened to cut his brakes. You didn't actually cut his brakes, did you?
Yeah,
no, Will, I'm not in prison. I threatened to. But he took it literally, even though I don't think I would have, to be honest.
No. Admittedly, when we were in 6th year, we did leave one of our teachers' cars on bricks at one point. But
did you?
Yeah. He didn't mind though. It's good crack. Murph, too good a hurler to get suspended. Too good a man to get suspended at this stage as well.
Any man that can be chosen to read the proclamation is not getting suspended, right? Let's just get that very, very straight.
I did see someone saying in the YouTube comments last week as well, is there any chance that Murph might read the proclamation in Belfast when we go up there next month?
Murph, that would be advisable not to do.
Yeah. Let's...
Moving on.
Yeah. I think you might well be the first person to read out the proclamation in Ulster Hall.
I will not be doing that.
And the last person?
Jeez. I'm willing to go. I'm willing to go with it. Right. We will answer some of the other off-topic conversations in a second. But just what else happened this weekend? So Cork beat Offaly, as I mentioned, 6-26 to 20 points. 5 of their goals coming in a spell between the 34th minute and then after half-time in the 50th. Brian Hayes got 2. Barry Walsh got 2. Dara Fitzgibbon, Tim O'Mahony scoring the others. I think there's not a massive amount of talking points in this. There's a good few Cork people in the chat. Again, I think this was a case of them just getting a job done. The minute I saw the team being named, I thought, right, Cork mean business, and they did. So Offaly go down to Division 1B for next year. Cork wins that final against Limerick. Then we had Dublin in 1B get the job done away from home against Carlow. Mentioned at the top, very impressive that they had 15 different scorers across the team. They had Fergal Whiteley, John Herriton scoring 4 points each from play. Dimmer O'Doulick hit some of the frees today. He got 4 points. Keane O'Sullivan hit 3. They were sharing around the frees a little bit during the game as well. But 15 scorers. That is very, very impressive. It's been a miserable campaign for Carlow. They're going down to Division 2 for next year. But Dublin winning 34 points to 214. I think Tom the Guard will probably be quite happy, Skehill, this year they're promoted back up.
Quietly happy, very happy. Guard texts as well to say that no complaints this week. Keep it in check, he said. I think that's aimed at you, Will.
Someone on the panel won't agree. I presume that someone on the panel is Skehill, but Martin is saying it's been a decent league for Wexford. Missed out in scoring difference, and we found the likes of Dark Harley and Simon Roach. They've certainly finished the league out very well, in fairness. That was really, really good against Kildare today. We wonder if this is going to set down a marker because they meet in the first round of Leinster, I am pretty sure, in Newbridge. I have the fixtures written down here somewhere, but Jack Redmond 3-3 today. Chin scoring 7 points, 5 from play. Simon Roach again doing some big scoring, 5 points. They will have Jack O'Connor, he was saying last week, back for the start of Leinster. He's very close to returning. But scoring 329 in that game against Kildare is very, very good because Kildare were obviously going in there with the pressure off, having already maintained their status. So Kildare next year will be playing in Division 2, if you want to put it that way, 1B, for just the second time in nearly 50 years. And Wexford, as mentioned in the comments there, just missing out on scoring difference on the last day. It puts a different complexion on it, doesn't it, Gail? You were saying you were worried about them a few weeks ago. Here they are now, win their last couple of games, win very comprehensively there against Kildare to finish it out as well.
Well, I think with regards to the provincial opposition, it was very important to lay down a marker. And I said last week that I was one of the games the weekend for me because it was going to try to tell a true story of where both teams were. Now, I'm not saying it told a definitive story, but at least you could see now as a Wexford supporter or player, there's daylight between the teams. The possibility is there to repeat that in the championship. So I think it's a good way to finish with Wexford because there was concern, particularly for me after the Clare game. Now, there is bigger fish to fry, it has to be said, but after the Clare game, I was concerned with the way their forwards were playing. So to see the score wrapped up today, positive.
What do you think, Murph? Given as well some of the players to come back in. So Martin again said that Liam Ryan and Shane Reck will be back during Leinster as well. Were we 2 down in Wexford a few weeks ago?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we were 2 down on them because we were only working off what we could see. Antrim came to town and last puck of the game of Fanning, got them the first points on the board. Okay, conditions were tough that night and all those things, but when Wexford were really going well, these were not games that we were expecting them to be too tight in. There was just times there where we just couldn't see where it was going to come from. Now, like one of the big ones I think there is Liam Ryan coming back. Like Liam Ryan at full back has been outstanding. He's had a few injuries over the last couple of years. That's the thing. He's been very intermittent playing for them. I think he's a huge lad to come back to be involved in that team because he's of that guard of the whole like Dee O'Keefe, Liam McGovern, Lee Chin, kind of that spine of the team. So for him to come back gives him a few more options maybe to push players out from that because I think he will be playing at number 3. I don't see him playing anywhere else. Shane Reck as well. Yep, that's great to come back as well. So they finished out really well. Like that was a great performance, to be fair to him, against Kildare. Because I think I even said that it could be a close match, and that's giving credit to Kildare. But no, finished it strong. Like you can see when Lee Chin comes back, I think he got 5 points from play today. I think he got 2 frees, but 5 points from play. Again, he'll just get scores for you, and it almost like it takes the pressure off the lads around him. Look, it's a good way to finish up. But what Wexford people want is a good performance in the Leinster Championship. Like this league won't matter unless they have a really good performance in the Leinster Championship. So that's where it's going to count on.
I say we'll come back to some of the more not irrelevant, but irreverent questions in a moment. But what happened elsewhere this weekend then? This is one that Murph was glued to when it came to the score updates because he flicked in at least 2 of them going, geez, Down might just turn over Antrim here. And then it turns out Donald Hughes bangs the ball into the net pretty much last puck of the game and Down win against Antrim 322 to 320. It was scoring difference at the bottom. We mentioned ahead of last week, Down scoring difference going into the weekend was always going to kill them. They needed a favour really elsewhere if they were going to stay up. They kind of knew going into the last one it wasn't going to happen. They needed Carlo to take even more of a scutcheon than they did and then beat Antrim handsomely themselves. But some result for Down. I know it's no consolation when they're going back down to Division 2 for next year, Murph, but that's some result. I think we do crown them the de facto Ulster champions, don't we? Because they're not going to meet them again.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great result for them because it was very close, and I kind of thought when Antrim went up by maybe 1 or 2 points at the end, I don't even know if it got out to 2 points in the end, but it was tit for tat. And in fairness to them, that's a great result. They stayed fighting to the end, get the goal, and come away with the points because they took a big enough beating. Was it against Clare? They took the big beating against. In fairness, good performance against Wexford. I think only got out by about 2 points or lost by about 2 points. I think they had a big second half against them. So it's it's a great performance from them, and they can be delighted with their win. Like at least it finishes on a positive note for them for the end of the league.
Yeah, I do agree. Crack of the Ash. It makes no difference to Antrim in the grand scheme of things, which it doesn't. I mean, Antrim kind of knew that going into the weekend as well, but they wouldn't want to lose the team who were bottom of the table. Go on, Kel, go on. I knew you'd come in. Go on.
But they only won one game in the league, let's say, the last 5.
Yeah, it's bad prep for Joe McDonough. There's no doubt.
In terms of parity, like the 2 teams that went down are down in Carlow, isn't it, Will?
Mm-hmm.
And they both won 1 game each and lost 5.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're looking for positives to come out of your league, there's not many places you can assess it. And I think their score difference, I remember, I was looking at it last week, I think their score difference was something like minus 28, 29, something like that. Or 27, I think it was last week. Which is not a good reflection on you as an attacker or as a defensive team. So it's not ideal preparation. And I know it doesn't mean anything in the league in the grand scheme of things and they're safe. But geez, that's a bit of a worry. When you consider where Antrim were 2 years ago. Are we forgetting that, lads? Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Worrisome.
Yeah. Well, they do meet in the Joe McDonough, so maybe they can square the series for this year when it comes around to that. But they hold the title for now. Skehill using every opportunity to hate on Davy. I don't think it is, though. I think this is legitimately concerning for Antrim. Like, this has been a bad league campaign.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, it has been a bad league campaign. Like, I mean,
the blind dog on the street can see that. Like, you know what I mean?
That's it. No, it has. It's been bad. Like, you can't put it any other way. Like they never even mustered anything against Clare. And like, a couple of years ago there, they bet them up in Corrigan Park. I know people will say, okay, like that was maybe once in a blue moon type thing, but at least compete. They didn't compete against Clare. I'm trying to think of the other results there that did they even muster much of a challenge? What was the one game they won? I'm trying to think of it. Was it Carlow? Beat Carlow well.
Yes, they beat Carlow.
Yeah. They beat Carlow well. But other than that, there was nothing to hang your coat on. The formation was very defensive as well. It wasn't very attack minded. Kildare beating them. Like, okay, Kildare are really good. Like, but for me, these things are markers in terms of that. Like, when's the last time Down bet Antrim? I'd say it's a long time since Down bet Antrim. So, like, they're markers in terms of where Antrim are at the moment. And okay, they maintain their 1B status, but like the indicators are there that it was by a hair's breadth. Like if Carlow turned up in Corrigan Park, or no, was it on in Corrigan Park? Carlow turned up anyway. I think it was Corrigan Park. You're looking at a different setup, So I mean, yeah, wasn't a good league.
I find that the league can be used for obviously form, but as momentum starters as well. And a league can be a momentum killer also. Like if you're a team that should be perceived to beat teams below you, theoretically lesser than you, and you don't, that's a momentum killer.
Yeah.
Where if you take out a big gun per se, that's a momentum starter. That's what will take you off. Take you forward as a team that's trying to reestablish a bit of dominance in their respective division. And it's not that simple. Like so. I just that's why I think that I put value on these types of losses. And sometimes we've lost a man. We've lost a man.
Well, actually, whatever about losing one of us, losing Will is a different story whatsoever. Because I don't even know how you shut this off if that's the case. But
okay, Murph, you're now in the hot seat.
I'm now. Do you know what I'm just going to do? Right, I'm just going to start throwing out questions here now while Will isn't here. The club 391. I don't have the capacity to bring these up, but Will has had enough. Cheerio, Will. Everybody's actually loving it, which is gas. The thing about it is, which people need to know, is that Will controls this live stream. So if he doesn't turn it off, he'll come back in. He'll be fine.
We're here for the night.
We have to kind of mind the house here. By
Jesus.
Bring back Sambo. Yeah, but I didn't even know what we were talking about before that now.
Well, somebody asked the best 5 hurlers in the league this year. And someone put up a list.
What I can just throw in here, Darren Murphy has just lost his mind. What's your biggest fear in terms of animals and food? Right, so Will has come back. Will's Wi-Fi gone, calling for sub. Okay, I
What's
don't know
your biggest fear in terms of animals, food? What the fuck is that, Darren? I mean,
fresh food, Darren, lads. Do you know what? This is one of those things now that there's a free house. People see that Will is gone and they're now firing questions in at us here. Davey's trying to cut the stream. Fair point.
Well, I will say, Murph, I came face to face with a leopard.
Fair play. Well,
that was no fucking joke, right? I was on our honeymoon, myself and the wife, and she and the guide on the safari said, "Don't move, right? Don't move." Okay.
Yeah,
And the wife ran past me and went to go close the door behind me. Bitch.
go ahead.
Straight up, yeah. Fucking leopards. They're no jokelets.
Yeah.
That was a shitless experience.
Well, I asked. I was in the same safari tone. We were in a jeep, and it doesn't have sides on the jeep. And like the whole thing, if when you go on safari, is that they tell you, the lions and all this, they just see the jeep as like a big kind of an elephant type thing. They don't see that it's people inside in it. So that's what I was like, that's a lot to rely on now when there's a lion about 10 feet away from you. But there's these two female lions passing by, and they were on the hunt, so they're looking for food. And I turned to the ranger beside me. I think that's what you call him. And I was like, what happens here now if these lions go for us? And he was like, every man for himself. I went, he's serious. He's like, do you not have a gun there? And he goes, no, I don't have a gun. I was like, well, what happens? He goes, you signed the waiver, buddy. And I went, right, we're in trouble. Hello, Will.
How are you getting on, lads? I was, what are these questions? Yeah, I was kind of watching along on YouTube going, bloody hell, what's going on here, you know?
You have to do a poo.
I didn't know. So I could surely would have very kind of politely have gone, I'll just knock the camera off for a second. I'll come back in a little while.
Well, there's a lot of people saw that you were gone. They were just throwing in questions because they thought that we might be a little bit vulnerable.
Just answering for
maybe
crack,
answering wild. No, we did.
Like, what's your favourite animal and stuff like that?
No, it's not. It was actually, what's your biggest fear in terms of animals / food, which was kind of very unusual. / food.
Food for the animals?
Fear of food. I don't have fear of food. I'm
looking forward to rewatching them. I was watching on YouTube where I felt incredibly locked out, where I was on my phone watching on 5G while watching the router come back.
This must be like where someone locks the children in the car and you're like, oh my God, the keys are in the car and the children are in the car. You were now locked out of the car looking in going, oh God, what are they going to do?
You survived. As much as you survived when I was away a few weeks ago, you survived for those few minutes while I was gone. Right, let's round off these last few mad questions before we finish up and we do the members pod. I saw someone ask Murph, what do you think about Tom Ryan's comments last week about the warm weather training camps? Have a watch of our members pod last week or have a listen to it. We talked about it for, I'd say, 25 minutes.
Handy.
And then the lads ended up chatting about their sporting bucket list after
and
that.
We're going to report about the camp, haven't we?
We're going to do a warm weather training camp to report on it. So that's the listeners. Yeah.
Well, so I thought that was going to be you allowed them to have grenades in a tank.
We should go to Antrim. I meant to say last week in sporting events, I should have said the Cheltenham Winner Circle. That's an unbelievable place.
Oh yeah, geez, that was some crack.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, sure. How did you forget that?
I don't know. Maybe because I was slightly intoxicated at the time.
So fair.
There's been quite a few of these who were asking about top 5 hurlers of the league, and Super Duracell 1 stuck it in at least once.
Aaron Ireland, Aidan O'Connor, Jake Morris. I've done already.
Nice. This written because even before the question came in, he is Super Duracell 1.
I have it up there already. I got caught in 4 and 5. That's
no. I'm thinking Ruben Halloran's in my head there at the moment. He was good. I'm trying to think, is there any other lads now that are...
But you can't argue with the first 3, surely.
No, I'm with you in them. Aidan O'Connor's been outstanding. Jake Morris outstanding, yeah, Nyland.
I thought Ruben Halloran was really good for Waterford.
Yeah, I think we give Ruben Halloran the tip of the hat there.
Yeah, Adam English.
He's been good.
He's been good, yeah.
He has been good, yeah. Because I was just trying to think of Cork there. Like there was no one who really, as an individual, looked like they were like, geez, Cork were brilliant, but I can't think of anyone.
Lads are loving Tallis, by the way. He's come up loads of times there. Again, I'm not sure if he's going to start in the championship, but
Tallis had a good league, but if we're talking top 5 players, there's plenty of lads can maybe feel disappointed if they're not in it.
There's Super Duracell's own. He's gone Ruben Halloran, Fitzgibbon, O'Connor, Morris, and Nyland.
Good call.
Mark Fitzgerald coming in there from tip back. That's a fact.
Wow.
Gary's giving Keane Kenny a shout there as well.
Keane Kenny was good, yeah.
Roach for Wexford from Paul Tierney. So yeah, keep your suggestions coming in. Colin Needle's very good as well. I would agree with that.
Okay, someone wrote in Catholic O'Neill is excellent.
Oh, Catholic O'Neill.
That's a typo. It's obviously a typo.
Yeah, absolutely. Scale cutting the brakes. The horses he's backing. No, don't be unfair on Florian Porter now at this stage. I think he got through Cheltenham, didn't he? Or as in you got through Cheltenham as a punter, Skehill, is what I should say.
Jeez, I came home very happy from Cheltenham.
No, he's still here.
Very happy.
Owen Green, hold on.
Till I had cab waiting to me.
Been harsh enough in the pod at times, but it's great to hear hurling lads talking hurling. Be harsh in the pod if you want, by the way. I did see that last week. So this one mainly for MCR, who also commented on Spotify, but used his real name on Spotify. So we'll use MCR as his YouTube name here. He wrote a really long post giving out about the way that we conducted the pod last week, and we went off on way too long a tangent and all that. And it's like, it always creates this discussion, and afterwards goes, geez, I love when the lads actually talk about the technicalities of hurling or go off and talk about something totally different, like with the questions we're getting in tonight. Sometimes you want your team to be talked about, and I totally understand that. He's a Tip fan. He felt there wasn't enough of a Tip chat. And he deleted, and I was like, there's no need to delete your comments at all. Like, you can leave them there by all means. We are big boys and can take the criticism, and we take that all on board. But we are mindful that you'll get almost as many people who will say, actually, I love when the pod goes a little bit off into weird directions and you end up chatting about stuff you didn't intend to chat about. So it's a delicate balance, and that's the joy of a podcast. Like, this isn't a structured radio show or TV show. So just going to happen, lads. Get used to it. I will put in as many timestamps as I can to try and warn you if you are a supporter in those counties and go, I just care about the Galway Limerick game, so I'm just going to listen to those first 35 minutes. I just care about what Kenny and Tip, so I'll listen about here. But just expect that we are going to go all over the place. Loan for President, because he's such a fabulous name, gets another question before we finish. Which skillful players on the teams he played on, these are also negative, by the way, would have been too laid back for today's professional environment and wouldn't have survived? Were you even in the era where you had lads who were still having a pull of a cigarette at half time and maybe a bit too casual on track and back?
Oh, gee.
You're too new a vintage, aren't you?
Of a cigarette at that time? No, God, no. See, the thing is, like, I often have the view that, like, if there was lads in our time were exposed to the current setup, like, okay, for maybe prolonged periods of years of real intensity, because, like, at the moment now what lads are going through is savagely intense. Like, they're long seasons, so over the long term a fella might go off to go travelling, but in terms of surviving on the panel, I think any of those, like, maybe, I don't know what you call them, more skillful kind of rogues type fellas, they'd adapt, like, you know, as in, it wouldn't be a case like, okay, I see someone putting in there Mulhall, seriously laid back. Mulhall was one of the biggest animals in terms of fitness going. Like, God's looking at him, that he's really relaxed and all this stuff. Mulhall used to destroy lads when it came to running. Like, he was nearly unmatched in terms of running. But lads think his persona means that he maybe, he'd turn up to training and he wouldn't be. The man would absolutely destroy you. So there's a good example of where lads think a lad perceived to be relaxed or laid back. And, like, I remember, so Mulhall, I think, skipped transition year. So he ended up in college when he was like 18. So he was still hurling minor, but he was also hurling Fitzgibbon at the same time. So when he was coming back hurling minor club in Kilkenny, and I think minor for Kilkenny, he was exposed to Fitzgibbon level. If I'm correct in putting this all together, we were training in Nolan Park one time, or not Nolan Park, sorry, James's Park in Kilkenny when we were minor, and we were doing these runs, and we were all absolutely eyes out running, and Mulhall was about 40 yards ahead of us, soloing the ball, running and beating us all. So when lads, there's an example of when lads perceive a fella's relaxed and he's this and he's that. That can often be completely different to what he's actually like. And I know that's a tangent to the question that was actually asked there, Anton. But I'd never put him in that class now.
I saw the club sticking up Declan Pilton. Wrong Pilton. You want Johnny Pilton on this one. Johnny by his own admission. Like, I remember. First game after they won the club championship in 2003 with Burr, I think. And I just remember just passing by Johnny in the dressing room. He was having a cigarette before he went out to play first round of the championship. So it was a different time, though. Like, he came from a vintage where lads in the 90s played like very differently to that. I actually think that, first of all, Johnny Pilton was such a good hurler that if he was coming through right now, and like he's training he's been training the Offaly under-20s who are really well conditioned, I reckon Johnny would have adapted. It's just different times. Like, I don't think he would have had that approach now. But anyone for you, Skehill, that was like a bit of a maverick who may well not have taken to the current regimes?
No one comes to mind at the moment, we'd have to say. I think in terms of relaxing, like, you have to understand that the way a person is, you know, their persona versus what they're on the pitch are chalk and cheese. Like, Dahi Burke is the quietest, most horizontal person you'd meet. But he'd ate you alive on the pitch, football or hurler. So, but you come back in the days, like, there was a few Oh God, we had some amount of players that could have made it. I'm thinking specifically from an underage perspective, lads. You know, I just think of John Lee. Do you remember John Lee, Murph?
Is he doctor? Is he?
He's doctor, yeah.
Yeah. I remember him. He was a big lump, as all Galway lads, big lumps.
Yeah, if he just had more in him, like in terms of that want to play, he would have been. I honestly believe I look at him and go, "Geez, man, you had the potential to be an all-time great." That's how good he was, like in terms of all the tangibles he had, but just couldn't give a continental fuck. so it's like, God damn it.
Yeah.
I suppose that's where the question. I'm turning the question that way. Well, not that who's surviving today's game, but I just think I guess you either adapt to your surroundings, or you become a victim of them. So any player that was kind of nonchalant back in the day, if they brought into today's environment, they'd adapt to the surroundings, because first of all, the sportsman comes out in you.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Maverick, if you want to call it. But so like if you take, as you said, Johnny Pickerton, you drop him into a team in today's today's world, he adapts straight away and becomes just as good, if not better.
And by the way, I think we all know, like, there's a minor, I would say, in every county or every club who was going to be the best player of all time, and it just doesn't work out for them. And there's a various million different reasons: injuries, women, losing attention, the dreaded drink. There's always like a different story behind why such and such who used to shoot the lights out with minor doesn't quite make it at senior level. So humans are complex, is what I would say to this when people think, because there's some lads who just wouldn't be able to do it.
Humans are complex.
They are. You've had to deal with them, coaching them and stuff like that as well. Castlelong, again, this is for everyone. Does Skehill remember any of the 2018 final after going off?
No, none of it.
Were you fully concussed? You were?
Yeah. It's actually a very, very strange feeling to watch a match and see yourself, let's say, in a match, but not remember it. Do you get me?
Yeah.
It's very weird, very odd to do that. But alas, here we are. Yeah. I just remember the strangest thing. I keep asking people, when I got up, let's say, after getting the belt, everything was green. Everything. People, pitch, sky, post, everything was just green, which is so fucking weird. So weird. Like, yeah, but weird.
That's kind of strange. So recently enough, I had to get a thing done with my eyes, which involved a bit of laser. And similarly, the next day when I woke up, I had the worst migraine in my life afterwards. Understandably, you've got a laser going into your eye, and green is all I could see as well. Was it? So I'm wondering if that's something to do with the way that things are transmitted back to your brain. I'm sure there's some doctors and very well-educated people here in the chat that can tell us. But
but that was my sixth concussion.
Green kind of flashing lights the next day afterwards.
Yeah. That was too many. I think that was the last concussion I got. That was my sixth one.
Over how long?
Over
2 weeks.
In 2018, I was 30. So my first one was when I was 16. So 14 years ago.
Right.
14 years. I got 3 in 1 year.
Not to get too dark, but when you hear about 3 in 1, right? And obviously, I know you've talked about, concussions and particularly CT in the States and stuff like that being identified around sports people. Like, did you have any concern then when you're coming out at the end of your career and you're like, geez, I had 3 concussions in a year? Yeah,
so there was a test. That we had to take, let's say, when you're coming out of concussion protocol, and it was basically to assess if you were fit to go back and play after 2 weeks. And if you weren't, let's say you have to sign a waiver to kind of, I suppose, indemnify anyone, the GA, the club, whatever you want to call it, officials, the county board, to say that you're going out at your own, which at your own peril, basically. So that the test after the 18, we were playing our club championship after that, failed the test. Went back in the week later, failed it again. So I had to sign a fucking waiver to say, yeah, I'll take the hit in this one if that happens to me.
Bloody hell. River Power explaining it there.
The brain's visual processing center is disrupted. That's pure Google, if ever I seen it. But I don't know what it means. Yeah.
Unless they know.
Well, no, it is American because it's colour with the OR as OUR. So
well, the worst concussion, one of the worst concussion I ever got was playing rugby, right? And when I went back to the house, I lost all speech. So I couldn't speak. So I was trying to explain to my mother, right, what was wrong. And my brain couldn't tell me the words. I couldn't think of the words.
Jesus.
That's a very, very frightening experience when you're trying to explain to her and you can't get the words out of your mouth because your head is so fucked. That was
that's mental.
Mental, yeah.
There is a good one to finish out here. Hold on. A better question would be, I was supposed I can do it better. Is there a player from the last century that hypothetically you'd like to see playing today?
Oh, Christian Ring. I've heard so much about him. I think the game has not heard so much about him.
So that's more so to do with the fact that you haven't seen him than haven't seen. Yeah. So the way I was looking at that one was I was almost being asked that would it be that they're suited to this game, or is it just a case that you'd like to see them? Which you will.
I think you can interpret that either way. Like maybe some player that you saw, how would you like to see them if they had optimum conditions now? The best possible training, best nutrition, best pitches, all that type of stuff. Who would you love to see? Like, is he Castle Long? Potentially a Limerick fan, not quite sure. Going with Mick Mackey. Obviously the mind drifts to that. Players that you've heard so much about, or you've only seen a few clips of here and there. And you see a newsreel of Christy Ring, but it's generally him getting carried off the pitch. Or you might get to see Nicky Rackard, and it's just one of the goals going in. And people have obviously written about these players of that generation who we just own a video of. So yeah, I think a lot of the players in the past, because I see a few of them been kind of named here, like Eddie Kerr, Brian Whelan, Jimmy Doyle, those type of players. They probably would be better, even better now, even if they were the standout brilliant players back then.
Yeah.
Jimmy Barry Murphy is a great example. I would say Jimmy Barry Murphy would be an absolute hoss right now. He would have to focus on one of the two codes, I suppose, the only thing. Cú Cullen, the OG. We call Tiago the OG. And Cú Cullen might be the actual OG when it comes to hurling mythology.
That's brilliant. Wearing some sort of toga type job. Yeah.
Fairness, Darren Murphy, what you've said there about the Waterford team, he's right though.
Yeah.
That'd be serious. Like Ken McGrath, Dan Shannon today in the full forward in today's game.
Yeah.
Imagine Dan Shannon on Kyle Hayes. I'd fucking love to see that.
That'll be class.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Keep the questions coming in. Martin Furlong's gone the same way. Ringer Rackard. Like again, it would be class to see these guys that you just read about in the history books.
It's gone.
Nick English is a great shout. The reason Nick English is a great shout, Nick English, fabulous in Cheltenham, where he dealt with Matt Chapman perfectly, where Matt Chapman was clearly given a line before he came in, and he was like, he won this many Munster championships, this many All-Irelands, you're the greatest of all time, and he was kind of like, it was alright, yeah. Like Nick English, when you watch some of the stuff, like Nick English's goal against Antrim, some of his skills, the way that he drifts about, we love those players who are really elusive and really classy as a forward these days. Nick English had the whole package, lads. He's incredible. Such a good hurler, and again was in that period which is so difficult where it's knockout, where if Nick English had the back door, Nick English would probably won more than he even won. It's just there were brilliant lads back then who went out early, and Joe Hayes abusing him by Joe Hayes saying he wasn't worth a shite basically after that. He's overplaying himself, I think, which is very funny. That clip is actually great if you didn't see it from last week. Offaly team in the 90s with the strength and conditioning now. I mean, again, there were some fabulous hurlers on that team. So Kieran Carey would be great. 100% agree. Be a fabulous player to watch. We are suckers for the 90s, by the way. I think it seems the people in the comments are as well. The Sparrow, well ahead of his time. Yeah.
Can you give me a player that you used to love that nobody would really remember?
That you used to love that nobody would remember?
Really remember.
That's tricky now. That's a real Skehill question. It's like you can't just pick a player that you really enjoyed. You have to pick a player who you feel went under the radar as well on top of that.
Yeah.
I loved one particular lad.
Go on.
Paul Codd from Wexford.
What did you like about Paul Codd? I always remember Paul was a great player.
Just the free taking, his style. He was all way different back then. He was just deadly. I loved him. No one ever talks about him.
And you see him go every so often. I loved Colin Lynch. I thought Colin Lynch because he was just like himself and Ollie Baker in the midfield for Clare.
Maniacs.
Just timber flying. Like that throw in was it against Tip? Was one. And the referee throws the ball in about 15 seconds after about 4 hurls have been broken. So it's like about Watford. That's what it is. Yeah. But I just remember in my mind's eye around 96, 97, there was these great matches where it just seemed to be really sunny in either Thurles or the Gaelic Grounds, and it was Clare and Limerick and Tipperary and all that. And I have visions of just the likes of Colin Lynch. Yeah, he was outstanding. I'm trying to think of those players now, Skehill, as you're saying, like Paul Codd, for example.
Yeah.
Who else there now would
love
be?
Paul Flynn.
You could pull all these lads out of it. I think there's lads coming into the back of my head.
Jeffrey McGonigal.
Will. Yeah, Jeffrey McGonigal, yeah. Clute McFetteridge from Antrim. He was a great hurler. Actually, Sambo will be listening to this. He'll enjoy that one. There was a lad, wasn't there a great goalkeeper for Offaly a good few years ago, Stephen Byrne? Wasn't he? Outstanding keeper.
Young hurler of the year in '98.
Was he?
Yeah.
Like when I'm thinking back now, I'm trying to like troll the archives here. I remember him being like just top class.
Right. Stephen Byrne, by the way, top class man. Right. League 1999. I'm pretty sure Offaly played Cork. Someone will probably else remember. It was in Burr anyway. It was just after Offaly won the All Ireland the year before. I was doing umpire because then the classic thing is, you put a 13 or 14-year-old lad back then, Division 1 Hurling League, as an umpire. And after the game, Stephen Byrne gave me his jersey. I still have it at home.
Go away.
Nice.
And that was back in the days as well, Skehill, where they were the long sleeve ones. I remember I used to wear it in school and stuff afterwards. They were like the long sleeve ones, and they were also made out of such heavy cotton that you could probably wear them in winter, to stay warm if there was no fire in the house. That's how warm the jerseys were. But he after the second half, I was at his goals in the second half. He gave me his jersey after the game.
Love it.
And you know what? It's gone now because everyone wears compression on their arms and whatever else. But all the outfielders used to wear the baggy long sleeve jerseys back then as well.
Yeah. Love the jersey. I've got happy with them.
I know they're probably not helpful these days when it comes to aerodynamics and so on, but geez, you could wear them for a while. Where are we at here? Here's one for Skehill. Niall Patterson, the Antrim goalkeeper.
Oh, yeah.
Parks, yeah.
Did
the
you
Antrim
know
goalkeeper
this?
for years. Didn't know that.
I condone that.
Or a Pat Fox. I think Pat Fox had the knee brace, didn't he? Pat Fox used to have the knee brace kind of towards I think in the 91 games. Pat Fox used to have the knee brace in the 91, 92 around that time, didn't he? I'm fairly sure.
I do love as well how Joey Cullinan has decided, we've hit the 2-hour mark. It's after 11 p.m. Ask Skehill about the 1953 All-Ireland Cork versus Galway.
I was at it, Joey. I was at it, yeah. I was at it, yeah. Great game.
We've officially gone to that point. See, John Troy is too good to go into the underrated line from Lee Bevans here. John Troy is an amazing hurler.
Yeah.
There's actually, you know what? There's a lad who I guarantee, and this is entirely my Offaly bias. If John was in the modern system, right? Because again, John would have been fond of a cigarette and probably would have been fond of a bit of crack. And definitely I remember hearing one years ago about the fact that, I think was he rooming? He could have been rooming with Joachim Kelly, I think at the time. And basically Joachim thought he was asleep, but John was actually down partying with a whole lot of people in Belfast before they played Antrim in an All-Ireland quarter-final. Like, that's where John is at. Like, Joachim was worried about, where he was going to be before they got the bus to go to the Antrim game the next day. And sure, John was down celebrating with, I think, a Celtic supporters club or something at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, geez.
So, like, that's John. But, like, John was just an unbelievable classy hurler. Like, he was the inventor of the Troy flick up off the ground and stuff like that.
That's the one thing I was thinking of. Yeah. He did it in Leinster semi-final or final around 98. And it was the first... Minds were blown when I saw this. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Like, if he was in the clip... like in the clip era where now we get the Tony Kelly clip and we get the Lynch clip and that type of stuff that does well on TikTok. Back in the day, if John Troy was hurling now, he would be like a TikTok machine at this stage with some of the skills. Brilliant off both sides, playing goals without the field, so he's a little bit different to most players who end up going the other way around. His brother went the other way around, went from an outfielder into the goals. But
Sorry, just to actually jump back there,
Go for it.
I want to give compliments to Skehill there. I'm just the fact that you pulled Jeffrey McGonigal there, Derry. Like I just remember he was a bald fella, didn't wear a helmet, wasn't he? And he was I just remember the Sunday game when they do the roundup. It always go up to Derry and Jeffrey McGonigal's after whipping on the ball on the ground. That's my abiding memory. Full forward, Derry. That was a great one. Well done.
Great show. And you know what's in my head right now, Murph? As you were talking there a moment ago, I said Murph is going to be in the Jubilee team in only 10 years' time.
Jesus.
10 years' time, yeah. I thought about that the other day myself, yeah.
Why is that coming to my head? I have no fucking clue.
Well, I don't know why,
he's going to be in the Jubilee. 10 years' time.
I
season
hope
18 of the pod.
of the Hurling Pod, where we argue whether Murph should have got out at half time as opposed to the team being announced before the game.
Yeah.
It should be at half time, by the way.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it should. No, it should be 100%. Yeah.
I hate this nonsense. Like, I mean,
I
remember
remember
the Michael Bond thing where he couldn't even get out onto the pitch a couple of years ago when it was on beforehand. There was only a handful of people in the ground beforehand. Gizzy Ding's a great shout as well. Definitely one of those kind of cult hero players as well. As mentioned, probably a difficult time for Wexford. I'd say Waterford have loads of these of players like Tony
Paul
Brown
Flynn.
has mentioned.
Paul Flynn straight away,
Lads that loved from other counties love them.
There was a statement I remember made about Paul Flynn that I think was very true, was that where people said that he, anytime he was playing, it's like the other 5 Waterford players nearly dropped their standards because he was so good that it was almost like a case that they felt he was going to cover everything. Do you know that sort of way? Paul Flynn was outstanding. John Power, centre forward. He was.
Yeah, this is one from Nulty that I hadn't realised until I heard him being introduced on the radio. Does Taggy Fogarty not have an All-Star?
Mustn't do, actually, if that's the case. Taggy Fogarty underrated.
The only reason I thought about that when I saw that the Jack had put it in was that I saw him being introduced on the radio a while back, and it was the All-Stars were being listed for the other people, and Taggy got it. You have won X All-Irelands as opposed to All-Stars, so...
Okay.
Surely he would have won one, though, no?
He was man of the match in 2006, I'm fairly sure.
But Murph, there's crazy people that don't have All-Stars. Like, I'll give you two off the top of my head. Tom Kinney, the Cork midfielder, is no All-Star.
Yeah.
Oh, he's no All-Star according to his Wikipedia.
Jerry McInerney is no All-Star.
Jerry McInerney?
Yeah. Can't get over that. Yeah. Those two guys no All-Stars.
Yeah.
Like Murph is correct. 06, he got man of the match in the All-Ireland final. Wins 8 All-Ireland titles. I do appreciate that 3 of them were off the bench, but he still has 8 All-Ireland medals and no All-Star. I know those selections can be competitive, particularly around his position, but that's mad.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Righto. I think that brings us towards the end. Nicky Quaid only has 3 All-Stars. I get some of that is the Murphy year though as well, isn't it? Just the 2 of them have been in contention for that spot so many times.
It's like the bottleneck kind of Damien Fitzhenry, Don Logue, Davy Fitz type thing like that.
And Brendan Cummins.
Brendan Cummins. Sorry, jeez, Brendan. Stop. Brendan Cummins. Yeah. Like there's 4 of them going there, so automatically it just gets kind of Jesus. How does Brendan Cummins only have X? Do you know that sort of way?
The other side of it is Quaid will be remembered as one of the best goals of all time.
Mike Casey is no All-Star. Holy
bullshit! No, I call bullshit in that.
Well, Craig Ash just said it.
Oh shit, Craig, that can't be right.
Now you're doubting yourself. You have to doubt yourself. It's Craig Ash.
Here's me being the live Google here.
That can't be right.
That can't be right.
I don't think he does.
Stop. I know.
That is.
No. That is mad.
I would have said he had at least 2.
Oh, handy.
4 All-Stars, 4 Munsters, 2 leagues.
He's 4 All-Stars.
No, sorry, 4 All-Ireland. Sorry, did I say All-Star there by mistake?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
That's ridiculous.
That is mad.
Right, I think we'll end up definitely doing, a 15 of players with an All-Star at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's put that in the can.
Mike Casey, full back. That's mental.
Taggy Fogarty.
Jerry McInerney's wing back. Taggy's corner forward.
Yeah.
We've 3 of them already before we even start. Let's 100% do that in a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, better than Gogglebox. I don't know, Paul. He was pretty good on Gogglebox as well.
Cheers for the show. There we are now, yeah.
Right. Here's the last one. We're 100% gone after this.
We're in the gutter now. We're in the gutter.
I know. We still have a members pod to record, and none of us have any drinking us at this point, and it's a Saturday night.
Yeah.
The members have to wait till tomorrow, okay? That's what I'm saying.
Michael C. O'Riordan, we have a transfer option for your team. This is right up Skehill's wheelhouse. At the end of the league, who do Galway and Kilkenny go for? You can just have one player.
Any team.
Yeah. You can have any player from any other team. You can
Kilkenny.
Bring them in.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
We need a forward. What way are you thinking?
In terms of for our own counties? I'm just influence our team the most? That's what I'm thinking. What will influence our team the most when they're in top form?
Like, as you can see here, loan for present, Tony Kelly. I think a lot of teams would probably take Tony Kelly. Kind of all action. Kilkenny would need a fullback, Gary is thinking.
Yeah, I think if you're doing this though, I wouldn't be as concerned with the fullback position. If let's say for example, if Adam English was on the table, just as being Adam English, not like that you're going, we're stuck for midfielder. It's like probably take Adam English. Like I genuinely believe like Derek Corcoran and these guys can play fullback. I'm not that concerned. Like when you lauder goals, you think there's a huge vacuum, but I do think there's lads there to play it. So if you were looking at a whole, you can pick any player from the inter-county. I'm like, geez, the likes of Adam English covers ground. We could probably, that'd be great to have. I'd agree with though, like Gary. Yeah, Gary, you can't discount that. Sure, we might take Mike Casey. He's in the conversation. Take him. That's a good one though. Yeah,
I think Castlelong saying Cork forward. Like, it'd be hard not to turn down a Brian Hayes or an Alan Connolly in Offaly's case for something different, or a Galan.
But if you're talking at the moment, if I was taking a forward, I would be taking Aidan O'Connor or Jake Morris. Oh, geez, Jake Morris.
There's a decent shout out of Pewell. KK could take Rona Maher, Offaly take Elan, Galway take Kyle Hayes.
I was actually going to take Rona Maher.
Okay.
What would make the biggest difference to us as a team at the minute? I think we're okay with forwards, but the biggest influence I think would be a lad who could go into 6 or 3, 6 particularly.
Good call. Yeah.
Dominate. Rona Maher in there.
Good shout. Okay, I think we've made our drafts.
Happy.
I'd be more than happy to take Elan of those options. I wouldn't mind Brian Hayes either. Like Cian Lynch, yes, I think if you want to add that little bit extra to a team that's already functioning really well. But I'm just thinking that Offaly, for at least if I'm talking about Offaly here purely, Offaly needed an inside forward to kind of make it stick, win his own ball, that type of thing. That's where we're probably lacking the most. So yeah, welcome along, Gilan. You can come in. Like otherwise, a Lynch or a Kelly are the all-action guys who pull the strings for you and that type of stuff. Yeah. Like Lynch would be. I often wonder about this. Remember, you did your draft a few years ago, Skell, and you like sent Lynch up to Antrim, and you were like, he would be the first choice. He's the number one player and who you'd want.
Yeah.
Like there is that argument that maybe it would be difficult for Lynch to impose his game if he's playing in a team where they're not as good as Limerick are right now.
Yeah, that was a brilliant draft too, I have to say.
It was a fabulous draft.
The way you said he sent Galan up to Antrim, that was fantastic. Or Lynch up to Antrim.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Brilliant.
I forgot all about that. Jesus.
Yeah. Tony Kelly went to Westmeath, I think. They were the two players I remember photoshopping onto the what's got the thumbnail.
It's so random the way you just said. Like Tony Kelly went to Westmeath.
Got a good job up in Mullingar, and off he went. FBD Insurance were funding it all from.
Yes. He was working for Dunn Stores at the back of the goals there.
Yeah, I tell you, there's no in the whole GAA. There's nobody gets better advertising than that Dunn Stores. We used to have a radio studio right beside them as well. It was fabulous. You could actually go and just watch the games from the balcony from there. Davey would play Cian Lynch at cornerback.
I saw that comment. That's brilliant. That's top class.
Possibly. Right. Next week is a break week before the finals on Easter weekend. So we're looking forward to them on Sunday week. Not everyone's looking forward to the scramble for tickets for Division 1. If you're wondering about the other finals, they're not going to be announced until Monday. So we'll have more news of them then. The other one thing I did want to just mention before we went is that good news on the streaming side of things, that finally they turned around and clarified what's happening with the streaming. So it's going to be a case of you can't broadcast another game online in your county if they're on TG Car or RT at the same time. So I think that's not really unreasonable that, say, if RT or TG Car are showing a county final, that you wouldn't be streaming against it. That's way more workable than this idea where when it was very vague, it looked like a blackout in the county if there was a game on TV anywhere. So that's an important clarification, which is one moment. Off you need backs, Will. Possibly. Again, I wouldn't say no to an absolute elite defender as well, but we got a few things we need, unfortunately. Someone mentioned about the Offaly forwards as well. Yeah, no, Dyke and Screeney are good. Like there are players there, but Offaly's scoring rate is not high enough. If we had a top class forward, I think we'd be a lot closer to the teams that we are chasing. Right, that is our loss. It has been a case of the pod being brought to you by Applegreen, as they have been throughout the season. They sponsor all of the hurling coverage on Off the Ball across this year as well. They are helping you relax, recharge, and enjoy the journey ahead. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, particularly on YouTube, where things have been flying along. Facebook, I don't know why, it was primarily football questions. We got one of them in. That's enough. And hopefully we'll do another live again very, very soon. Paul Murphy, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thanks very much, lads.
James Skell, give me a second by saying something to say goodbye so I can find the video to play us out.
God bless. That's why I always say it in the pods.
That's quite enough. Go on, we'll see you next week.
The Hurling Pod
on Off the Ball
with Applegreen, making every journey better.